Wild Yinzers kicking through the door, loud like a jag off at a pins game fight. Brace yourself, this ride ain't polite. Dum Yinzers, loud and proud, heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Tales from the burg with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Dum Yinzers, loud and proud, heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. From the bug with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Dum Yinzers, loud and proud, heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Rivers collide where the laughs always flow. Black and gold thunder everywhere they go. The madcap kings breaking every mold. With two Dum Yinzers, the stories don't get old. Two Dum Yinzers, loud and proud, heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice.
Yeah. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the show. This is episode 936 of the Two Dum Yinzers. I want to say to everybody this afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Great to see you today, everybody, as this is Monday, guys. Just 24 days out from the NFL draft. It's unbelievably close. We were at 27 on Friday, Mike, and obviously you minus the 3 days, it makes it 24. But when I woke up and seen that it was 24, it just gave me a whole new way of thinking, because by the end of this week, we're going to be in the teens.
Yeah, it's going to be here really soon, and I'm just loving it, dude. I can't wait. The excitement is in the air. I made a trip down to Pittsburgh this weekend, and it was a buzz with the draft talk and excitement.
A lot of buzz going on. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be. Welcome back to the show. What's up, everybody? I want to say what's up to everybody on the board. To Sombra, my man. As always, Yinzer Joe, what's up? Yinzer's going. What's going on, Yinzer Joe? Hope everything is well with you two fellas. And Tortilla, all the way from Sacramento, California. Also, giving a little what's up to get this day started. Glad to see everybody today. Tommy Strings in the house. What's up, brother? He says, hey, guys, hope all is good. All is good, man. As good as it could be, I guess. You know, all things considered. Somber says it's on like Donkey Kong, biatches. That's right, baby. It's on. It is on.
It's on.
It's on, Mike. You know what else is on? Tiger Woods back on the back on the news. Ooh. Tiger Woods, Mike, with his fourth DUI since 1997, tying the Dallas Cowboys for playoff wins since 1997. Tiger Woods with four. The Dallas Cowboys, Mike, with 4 playoff wins.
Mate, when I saw Tigers back in the headlines, I was like, all right, my man's going to try and get out there and break the record for most wins. And no, apparently he's trying to break the record for the most DUIs. But hey, it's important to have goals. I don't know if that's the right one, but it's a goal.
You know, it's funny. I don't hate. Listen, I don't want anything bad happening to people, but
Exactly.
I don't hate seeing things like this because it reminds you that it's not only the stupid asses; it could be the successful,
Yes.
extremely successful people that are
Mhm.
out there making mistakes as well. So, again, at the end of the day, I don't wish bad upon Mr. Woods. However, it doesn't pain me to see it for the bigger reason, just in general, because
Yes.
again, it's not just the dumbasses; it's everybody.
You're just like everyone else.
Let's go to John on the board. John says, Ryan, I call you and you don't answer the phone. You treat worse than a prom date. I was extremely busy this weekend, but I will talk to you probably today, John. I did get your messages. We actually went to see PGH Steely, who is I guess you would call him, Mike, a tailgate. What was he? A tailgate?
He's a tailgate personality, a tailgate persona, a online influencer.
He's kind of getting attention by being a tailgater at the parties and at the games down at the Steeler games on Sundays. And we went and seen him a little bit. He was in town doing some appearances at the local bars. It was nice to go over and see him, Mike. Not too long. We didn't go out too long, and that was, that was planned that way. We didn't want to stay out too long, and I got to see
Yeah.
PGH Steely. And I got to be honest with you, on his own site, he puts up pictures and everything from the night. And I'm not satisfied. I'm not satisfied with the picture he has up of us. And I'm going to tell you why. The way he has me, okay, listen. In the picture, PGH Steely's standing in the middle. You're standing to his left side. I'm standing to his right side. And where I'm at on the screen, I'm off the screen. So it makes me look like I have this wide, clumpy ass because it goes
lumpy butt.
It goes off of the screen. You know what I mean? So you don't see that my butt just literally goes straight down. I have nothing for an ass, like literally. So when I'm looking at this, I should be happy because it's giving me some kind of ass, but it makes me look like a lump butt. Like I have a big.
It looks like you're up there throwing cake for PGH Steely.
It does.
Trying to get some free Duquesne Pilsner is what it looked like too, man.
And I was concerned about this. I mean, when people take pictures of me, I don't know. I look generally normal and usually, but as soon as somebody turns a camera on me and takes a picture, my face just does the stupidest things, which that wasn't the incident, Mike. That wasn't the issue. It was the ass that camera shot gave me. And again, if anybody knows me, I have no ass at all. And it just makes me look like one of these clumpy guys, one of these guys that are just kind of, they just kind of wobble. But I don't wobble. I just want to throw that out there. If anybody has never seen me walk, again, I don't love the picture. And I see Mike fishing for it now, as a matter of fact.
I'm not going to go fishing for it right now. I don't want to embarrass you.
But you know what?
Maybe keep an eye on it for later in the week.
Yeah. A lot of things going on. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Welcome back to the show. It's time. It's Monday. Welcome back. Glad to see everybody today. Let me say what's up to everybody on the board coming in. Mike, we got a lot to get into. Busy weekend in sports here in Pittsburgh and abroad. Let's get into some messages right here. Somber says breaking records the wrong way, like Terrell Austin, T. Austin getting it done wrong. Tortilla Jackson says, I've heard twice today that we can't draft a guard before wide receiver 3. I don't know where this is coming from, but our quarterback is 40, so we can and we will. Great seeing Tortilla all the way from Sacramento, California. Big John Stud, middle name Mud, says this. He says, Woods always was a putter, not a driver. I seen something. I seen a meme yesterday, and it was like the black half of Tiger Woods was arrested because the Asian half of Tiger Woods couldn't drive.
I saw that one. And I saw one too. It was like the black half was tased.
What?
This is what I saw as well too. I was like, God damn, that's good.
Joey says, Steeler freak, you're not peaches. Vanilla doesn't mix well with any other fruit. Interesting. Also, Somber says, wobble, 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 shake it, shake it, shake it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. Lots to get into today. Like a lot of sports going down over the weekend. If you'd like to pay attention for a moment, so we could get started, that'd be fantastic.
No. You just flew over Tortilla's comment, but I'll allow it.
Tortilla. Oh, sorry, Tortilla. I didn't know you'd giggle like a girl. I thought you would remind me. My Tortilla says this. Ryan bends over when he says, "Grab a Duke." Yes, I do. Matter of fact, and that's what it looked like. And it looked like I had a whole lot of ass. And I don't, believe me, I have no ass. None. It's a straight line. It's like having two slabs of bacon hanging from my lower back and then connected to my upper legs. There's no ass whatsoever. Just Learning says this. He says, didn't Tiger make it with Lindsey Vaughn? She is hot. I'm not sure.
I can't remember.
Welcome, though. Just Learning. Great seeing you on the Terrible Board. As always, hope everybody had a great weekend. Let's get into it. Guys, I don't know. Let's start right here. Let's start with some football, Mike. The UFL kicked off over the weekend. Here are some results from that. The Friday, Saturday, and Sunday's games all through the weekend. Mike played out like this. The Birmingham Stallions in the kickoff of the season, they beat Louisville 15-13. On Saturday, the St. Louis Battlehawks beat your DC Defenders, Mike, 16-10. The later game on Saturday, it was, who was it? It was the Renegades 36, the Houston Gamblers 17. And on Sunday, Mike, they wrapped up the weekend with the Orlando Storm beating the Columbus, Todd Haley's Columbus team. Mike, the Storm win that 23-16. It'll pick up back on Friday if you caught or if you were interested in the UFL. A couple games over the weekend and then one game on Tuesday. That's how next week's schedule plays out. Friday, a couple games on Tuesday. On Saturday, I think it plays out like, or Sunday, and then again on Tuesday is like their Monday night football game, I guess, if you will. That, Mike, wrapped up week 1 of the UFL. Also, other big news going around, like the Final Four. The Final Four has been set in college basketball. They blow through the field of 64, Mike. They are down to 4 teams in the Final Four. This is all going to go down on Saturday night. UConn with the big win over Duke. Mike, they advanced. They're going to be playing number 3 Illinois, number 2 UConn versus number 3 Illinois. That'll be the first game on Saturday at 6:09 to see who goes to the national championship. And on I'm sorry. And on Saturday following that game is number 1 Michigan versus number 1 Arizona State. That game is an 8:49 start. And the winner of those 2 games go on to play next Monday, 1 week from tonight, for the national championship at 8:30. Mike, and I know that you were while we were talking to PGH Steely and hanging out, you were watching Arizona closely. Are you glad that your team won?
I'm glad that they won. I think they are the only team I have left in either of my brackets since UConn put a dagger through my heart last night.
You like Duke, huh?
And I don't like Duke, but I had them in. I thought they would make a run this year, and then they came in and hit the 3. It was like bittersweet. It was like I love watching Duke lose and suffer, but at the same time, you fucked up my bracket.
Yeah. That's the NCAA Final Four coming up Saturday. The first game is 6:09. The second game is 8:49. Saturday night, we will know who the championship game is. And again, 1 week from tonight will be the national championship at 8:30.
Actually, I didn't realize in my second bracket that I thought was falling apart, I still have Arizona and UConn in place. So my heart wasn't that broken. I forgot I had a second bracket that was doing better.
Well, if you have enough brackets, you could eventually get it right, Mike.
You guess enough, eventually you will get it right.
Absolutely. Again, 24 days, guys, to the NFL draft. It's unbelievable. It's on its way. It's so close. I can hardly believe it, Mike. Let's talk a little bit about the other football team right here in Pittsburgh. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds, of course, the soccer team. They claim a victory, Mike, 3-2 over Sporting Jacks. They actually play tomorrow in their second round U.S. Open Cup game against, who do they play?
I can't remember.
They play Virginia. The Virginia Dream is who the Hounds play tomorrow, Mike. So hopefully they can win that and continue on in the tournament.
Now, the Virginia Dream sounds like that should be like a team the Pittsburgh Passion play.
It sounds like a WNBA team.
Exactly, yes.
I think they do have a dream, actually, as a matter of fact. Also, Mike, a couple more of our Pittsburgh teams over the weekend looked a little bit like this. The Pirates, they start their opening weekend with a 1-2 record as they played 2 extra innings for games 2 and 3 in the series with the Mets. They win 1, lose 1. They lost the first game of the season. The Pirates hit it 1-2 heading into the series today, starting today against the Reds, a 3-game set in Cincinnati. Braxton Ashcraft will be on the hill for the Pirates. It's a 6:40 start against the Reds. And finally, Mike, your Pittsburgh Penguins, they take a L on Saturday evening when they lost to the Dallas Stars. This was on Saturday. The Dallas Stars beat the Penguins 6-3, giving the Penguins a 36-21-16 record. With just 9 games left, the Penguins have an opportunity to get back in the win column tonight as they travel to the Long Island, Mike, to take on the New York Islanders. This game is a 7 o'clock start. The Islanders are a point ahead of the Pittsburgh Penguins in the division with 89 points. The Penguins have 88 points, an opportunity to pass them and get back into second place. One way or another, you can get. No, I guess you have to win. If you lose in overtime, it still isn't going to help you any. If you win, you could jump over the Islanders and be back in second place. So let's hope the Penguins do it tonight. We got the Penguins and the Islanders, the Pirates and the Reds. Hounds back at it tomorrow in the tournament, and also Mike, Final Four set. And of course, UFL is now underway. Welcome back to the show. Time to get into Pittsburgh Steeler talk. Glad to see everybody today. Let me jump on the board and grab a couple messages. I don't want to get too far behind, too early in the show. Let me jump in right here. Yinzer Joe says, hey, are we going to have a scab referees this year? From what I hear, the NFL and the refs aren't even talking about or negotiating. We don't need mishaps this year, Mike.
It's not looking pretty. For what's going on between the refs and the NFL. The NFL showed up in the refs thought they were going to, at least have a counter proposal to their current offer. And they're like, no one here has a authority to negotiate. So it's more or less take it or leave it. And the talks fell through. This might be a bigger story than anyone actually realizes, because if they can't get it worked out, it's been like a few years ago when we had high school officials reffing games. We thought last year was bad. We think it gets worse every year with, camera angles zooming in on every little play, wondering why this and that wasn't called. Magnify that now by 1,000 when you get scab officials, and it's going to be an absolute shit show.
Mike, of course, is talking about the everything going on at the NFL annual meeting, guys. It started yesterday, goes all the way through tomorrow in Phoenix, Arizona. They do it every year, talking, of course, about the replacement officials, kickoffs, and other rule changes are all going to be discussed at the meetings this year. As again, they kicked off yesterday. It goes through tomorrow with the NFL annual meetings. And again, this is an interesting story that is forming here, Mike, with these the referees and what is going to happen with that. And what exactly is their demand? What's going on?
I know the NFL, they offer 6 in a little, just under 6.5 annual pay raise, but demanding stricter performance measures and longer probationary periods and stuff like that. And the unions pushing back against some of those measures as well. And I probably want a little bit more money as well. So there's a lot of things going on between the two. And I don't see a resolution happening soon. I think it's going to draw out for a long time.
How about this? How about getting the calls right? How about when a guy's head is clearly over the line, or somebody right or left tackle that jumps every single play? Why don't you call this? If you're gonna let's worry about the things that you're actually supposed to do as a job. And again, at the end of the day, Mike, there was a lot of calls, I think, over the past 2, 3, 4, 5 years that people would say, "Dad, what are they doing? What are they doing?"
Yeah.
And here they are, they're fighting and all this other stuff. Let's worry about making the right calls first. That's just my opinion. But yes, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen here? It might be the scabs again. We don't know. We don't want that. But again, this is where we are.
I know the scabs might make for a more interesting and more chaotic season.
Yeah, maybe that's what the Steelers need. Maybe we need a little bit more of a chaotic season.
We need more of a chaotic season. Maybe we can get some benefits of some shitty officiating.
Yeah, man. Also, Sheets, guys. The gas station, of course, the official sponsor of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Sheets, Mike, is handling the fares for both the T and the Mon Incline during the NFL draft. You did suggest and recommend the T to people coming into town, trying to travel around and move about. Mike, Sheets is covering the fare for the T and the Mon Incline both the weekend of the draft, so that helps out a lot.
Hey, that's a smart move by Sheets right there. They are the Pittsburgh gas station, FU Wawa. You're from the wrong part of the state, and this is how you do it, Sheets, and hopefully other companies, pitch in it for stuff like this around the city for draft time. You're going to end up making a shit ton of money back for covering the fares for this. Sheets is going to make a shit ton of money for people coming in to the city. So a smart move by them. Hopefully some other businesses that are able to pitch in for stuff like this, something similar, do it as well, because they'll probably see a boost as well.
And Sheets is good, and I hope a lot of people that's coming into town try Sheets because again, it is a lot of delicious food for a gas station. I know how some people can be when it comes to gas station food, but it's very, very good. Stop at Sheets if you are in town visiting, guys. In just 24 to 27 days away, as this draft will be over in about 27 days. Unbelievable to even think about, guys. Let's also, Mike, a couple more things, but let me grab a couple of these messages on the board before we do scoot along. Joe follows it up by saying this: I really don't want to see a Hail Mary pass and two referees disagreeing if it's a touchdown or not. Laugh my ass off. And I couldn't agree more. Let me just kind of swing back up to Joe's next comment, and I'm going to come back here. Joe says, I just want the calls to be right. Otherwise, we're just going to have delays because of video reference. You know what? And I agree. I mean, again, it's always something, isn't it? It's always something. Now it's the referees. If it wasn't one thing, it would be another. And like you say, Joe, I just wanted to be right. I mean, come on. Do the most basic thing that you're required to do. Get the calls right. That's all. That's all. I do want to say right here to Just Learning says this is the best Steeler pod. We appreciate that. Thank you, Just Learning.
Thank you.
As always, my man. And Chad follows it up by saying, what's up, Ron and Mike? Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. That's right. Always great seeing Chad Schrader on the terrible board as we're blowing through this offseason, guys. Already built our coaching staff. Already blew through free agent frenzy. Already, Mike, just 24 days from the NFL draft. It'll be here before we know it. And the days, I also want to say good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in from. And the days, I do want to say, he says, I am sick of Rodgers. That's going to be where I do head next here, Mike. I guess the big story, if you're talking about Steelers, a lot of speculation about the draft, of course. But the big thing this week is what I'm seeing written in every single newspaper and every single article that I look in. The Steelers expect Aaron Rodgers' decision before the draft. Mike, that means 24 days. Within the next 24 days, if all this speculation is correct, the Steelers will know what their quarterback situation, at least for the time being, will be.
What was it? Before free agency starts, before the draft starts, before camp starts, before opening kickoff, we will finally know who our starting quarterback is. But like we've been saying all along, like the Steelers, the way they're building the team, you can more or less plug anyone in there right now and guarantee yourself 9 to 10 wins. So I think they're fine with whatever's happening. They are busy working on the draft right now. They know, like, Aaron, you got our number. If you want to come back, just let us know. If not, we're moving on without you. They got plans in place, so they don't care.
And I'm reading this morning, Mike. A lot of talk, of course, about Ty Simpson as a big conversation piece in Pittsburgh. People were saying this. They're saying if Ty Simpson comes in and plays, he says people are saying that it'll equal wins. Ty Simpson comes and plays here, it will equal wins. Mike, he hasn't played a single snap in the NFL. I don't.
That's a lot of pressure putting on any quarterback, let alone one who had a major illness and struggled the second half of his college season, his last season. So to anyone say that's crazy. Now, when I say you can put a quarterback in and win, you're going to put an NFL quarterback in this team and you can win, 9 to 10 games. And not with a rookie like Ty Simpson, not even Mendoza. And I don't know if any of the quarterbacks from last year you probably plug in. Maybe Cam Ward, plug him in, and you could win 8 to 9 games with him. But any quarterbacks out of this draft class, no, you would need someone. We'd have to go out and probably get like a Kirk Cousins to come in and go. And that would be about it. That would be our next logical move.
And Somber, I couldn't agree more. He said he's not ready, in my opinion. He wouldn't start year one anyway. But that is, again, the speculation, Mike, in a few articles here in town saying if we draft him, he could be, if he plays. So, I mean, if he does come here, let's just say Aaron Rodgers doesn't come here and it's Ty Simpson, it's Will Howard, and also Mason Rudolph. I mean, you would kind of think that the needle would lean toward one of the latter two.
Yeah.
But, I guess you never know, Mike, because we do have a quarterback whisperer at head coach, a whole different team and a different mindset philosophy. But it doesn't make much sense to think that Ty Simpson could be that guy, not now at least, Mike. But you know what? It might not work. And I'm going to tell you why it might not work, because the Cleveland Browns continue to talk about having interest in Ty Simpson. And I think I figured them out. I think this is what the Browns are doing. I think they're just trying to draft up anybody who they think that we could possibly draft because they think that it's going to bother or hurt the Steelers. Now, here's my problem with that. Nobody gives two shit about the Browns, for one. Here's what they're doing. They continue to do petty things.
Yeah.
And call out the Steelers and always trolling the Steelers. And they're not even a rivalry anymore. This team is so bad. Just overall, and people could say, well, they do beat you. Yeah, you know what? The Dolphins beat Tom Brady, and so did the Jets, and so did the Bills back when they stunk. They're petty. The Browns are always like this. They weigh out making something like this happen because they think it's going to hurt the Steelers, but it doesn't matter if it hurts the Steelers or not because the Browns are usually in the basement anyway. So again, for one, it's petty, it's stupid. But I mean, come on, the amount of quarterbacks that this team drafts, it's got to be, they just go out and get everyone that's available, Mike. I can't believe they go and grab two quarterbacks last year in the draft, and they're possibly even talking about grabbing one this year. Again, whether they are playing chess or whatever they think that they're doing, I truly, honestly believe this is what's going on with them. Like, it seems to me that they just have this want to be tied with the Steelers for whatever reason. There's only one way to do it: win games. You have to listen. You have to finish higher than the Steelers more than once in 40 years.
That would make that's hard for them. So now they just doing what they're doing now.
Like 40 years, they finished higher than us once since 1987 or 88. This is almost 2027 next year.
Yeah.
So that's 40 years, Mike. They finished ahead of us one time. So again, watch them continue to draft quarterbacks. And you see that big list of quarterbacks on the back of that jersey.
It's only getting longer,
Mike. And these are probably guys that they thought that we were going to grab the backup Ben and everything else over the years. The Browns, again, showing why they are nothing but stupid. And also over the weekend, Mike, they also fell into the category of what the Baltimore Ravens did. Ooh. As they had an issue, Mike, with their new the Browns backing out of the deal with AJ Epinesa. Mike, that is now what's going on in Cleveland. They're having a Max Crosby moment in Cleveland, trying to back out of the deal with the defensive player, Mike. So Cleveland is just going to always what Derpy used to say when he's come on, like way back in the beginning, the Browns are going to brown, and the Browns are definitely browning. Mike, is again. Just utter chaos in Cleveland.
And it's, due to a physical, again, like they are copying the Ravens and the Steelers, and not in the way that you want to be copying those two organizations. And the Browns will Browns.
The Browns will brown, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Let me jump back on the board here, guys. Let's go right here to Tortilla. Tortillas has been down this road before. Wake me up in June. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Again, Aaron Rodgers, all the news this weekend, Mike. It was Aaron Rodgers. We should know his answer by the draft. And also the golden boy, Shishkaboli or whatever. What do the guys call him on the board? Fat Bully.
Fat Bully.
Like, Fat Bully comes out and says this quote, "Trust me."
Okay.
Trust me.
Okay.
He's coming back. This is what was said, Mike, in quote by that particular person here in Pittsburgh. Mike, he says, "Trust me."
Trust me.
He's coming back.
In 10 to 12 days?
Exactly. So there you go. As far as we know, we don't know. But what we learned this weekend is we will know by the draft. And somebody that knows some things, I guess, in the Berg, Mike says, "Trust me."
Trust
He'll be back.
Because, your entire online persona isn't built around Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
It really is. That's all his stuff is all about Aaron Rodgers. So we'll trust him, I guess.
Never watched him or listened to him, whatever the hell he does. Let me do scoot on the board here. Tortilla says this. That's why we brought Carson Beck in to see if we can get the Browns to take him. I'm in denial, Tortilla. You know what? That makes a lot of sense, though. That makes a lot of sense. Very Brown-like. There it is. God love him. E.T. Somber says if the Browns waste the Browns waste 6th overall pick on Simpson, I would cry from happiness. You know what?
Mm-hmm.
I know. And I wouldn't roll it. I wouldn't put it by him. I would not put it by him. Speaking of which, I was just gonna say, I just thought of you, Tater Tard. Just as I thought of him, I was going to say, Mike, and Tater Tard is not here for all this news. And he pops in. He says, "How's old epic failure going? Piss pukers." Good. We're just talking about your team. talking about how they finished ahead of us one time in the last 40 years in the division, which is unthinkable. It's truly unthinkable. But let's move on the board here. Let's go to Dude. Dude, what's up, man? Always great seeing Dude on the terrible board. Afternoon, fellas. The Browns fuck up QBs. Everyone they've ever touched except for Baker Mayfield, and they sent him down the road. So the Browns are going to Brown. Dude also says this: the management for the Browns and the owners don't deserve a team. Tortilla says Kabuli has a crystal hot dog. Welcome back, everybody. Glad to see you today, guys. This is just 24 days out, like 24 days out from the NFL draft in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's coming. It's coming fast. Welcome, everybody. Mike, how was your weekend?
It was good, cut down some trees. So that was fun. I almost fell down the hillside. That was fun, Helped some people. Went down to Pittsburgh for a little bit to get that, the draft vibe, breathe in that draft air, man, to get myself pumped up for these last 24 days. So it was a nice weekend, man. It was a nice weekend, but I'm happy to be back here talking some Pittsburgh Steelers in the NFL draft with you, brother.
Oh, man, I feel the same. If you would have caught on Friday night, Friday night SmackDown, WWE was in town. A couple Pittsburgh Steelers were down there sitting ringside. If you are wrestling fans and you did tune in Sunday night, you would have seen Fatanu and YA Black right in the front row, crushing beers, watching wrestling. So again, if that's your thing and you were in town or you were at the WWE event, SmackDown, Steelers usually, as always, Mike, sitting right in the front row enjoying themselves.
Oh yeah, and chugging the burrs.
Let's get into it. Mike, so this was we've had this conversation on here before with a couple of the tight ends that we do have. I mean, they're both really good tight ends, of course, Darnell Washington and Pat Freiermuth. No complaints about our tight ends, Mike. But over the weekend, I'm also reading this. Is it a possibility that we do bring back Jonnu Smith on the cheap? Let's just say we don't feel that another tight end position, and it just comes down to being Washington, Freiermuth, and Galbraith. Mike, is it sensible? And maybe, and I hate to say because of these other things, maybe Jonnu Smith will be better. It's easier to do it with a quarterback. It's easy. If the offensive line is going to be better, the quarterback's going to be better. If you have more weapons, the quarterback's going to be better. Mike, the speculation, I know it's speculation with Jonnu Smith, but what would be the logic? Again, on the cheap, I think would be the best part of this if you're a Steeler fan. But realistically, does this make any sense at all? Do you give this guy another chance, Mike? Is there a possibility that Jonnu ends up on the Steelers again this year?
I hope there is a 0% possibility he ends up on the Steelers. I do not want him back. I was very disappointed in what we saw from him last year. The lack of explosiveness, the lack of just awareness of where you are on the field. There was like the one famous play where he's wide open, daylight around him, couldn't even get his head around for the ball. No, if I'm looking for a veteran tight end, I'm willing to try to see if he is healthy as a third tight end. If he can work on the cheap, David Njoku.
This is the obvious one, and I don't understand what anybody that you're talking to. Well, you have tight ends, so you don't need David Njoku, but you better bring back Jonnu Smith so you could have enough tight ends.
Yeah.
What are you saying?
Yeah, if I'm looking for like a veteran tight end to kind of like back up a Freiermuth, is say if something would happen to him, because Darnell has his special role, and Freiermuth's more or less your TE1. If I would be bringing someone in as an insurance policy in case something would happen to Freiermuth, I'd see if I can get Njoku on the cheap. Limit his snaps. Don't count on him a whole lot. He would fit in fine there. But no, I do not want Jonnu Smith. If he showed anything last year, he would still be on this roster. They would not have cut him. They would have just said, hey, man, let's just restructure your contract, move some money around, lower your cap hit, we'll roll it into a bonus or whatever. No, there's no need to bring Jonnu Smith back. I would even be okay with, hey, let's go find a tight end in the draft in like the 5th round. Fuck it. They might be better than what you're getting out of Jonnu Smith at this point in his career from what he showed us last year here. There was nothing there to warrant him coming back. Why people are now all of a sudden clamoring to get him back on the cheap? No.
I'm going to tell you why, because there's not a whole lot going on. People are they're trying to scrape up stories. But at the end of the day, Mike, this is what John says. He says at 6'5", 250 pounds, I never felt so small in my life. Talking about in comparison to Darnell Washington, Mike.
Yeah.
He says that is quote. He says that is a huge human being.
Yeah, that's an understatement. Johnny's not small either, and Darnell's a fucking giant of a man.
Yeah. I can't wait to see him play. I just love how guys bounce off him when he's running down.
I know, it's the best.
It's even better than Gronk. Because remember Gronk, he'd run you over.
Yeah.
Guys would like hang on his back. I mean, I can see that happening with Washington, but they just bounce off before they even get a chance to get a hold of him. It's
that's
fantastic.
the best part right there. Yeah.
He's so big. He could, he pushes you away before you even get to him. And if you get to him, now you have to deal with his girth and his body, Mike. So again, I'm not on the Jonnu ride at all, but let's see what everybody's saying on the terrible board, Mike, before we do scoot along talking about Jonnu. Let me get right here. Tortilla says I'd bring in Njoku in before Smith. They both run their way down. Of course, Njoku's productive, but he has injury issues, doesn't he, Mike?
Yeah, Njoku does have injury issues. That's why I said if you want to bring him in on the dirt cheap and you're just not going to count on him to do a whole hell of a lot other than be like your third tight end or be there as an insurance policy if something does happen to Freiermuth, that would make more sense than bringing back Jonnu Smith, because in his limited time last year, Njoku was still more productive than Jonnu Smith.
Yeah, no, you're right. And again, so it's such a crazy thing.
Yeah. Bring back, 38, 36-year-old Zach Ertz, sign him off the scrap heap. He's more productive than both of those guys. So there's someone out there better than Jonnu Smith.
Dude, he agrees with you. He says, no Jonnu. No Jonnu. Richard Jankowski, what's up? Always great seeing Richard on the terrible board. My man, hope things are going well for you. Hope you had a great weekend. Richard says this, the way that Smith played last year, I wouldn't even take him if he was free. Tortilla says this. He says, is Will Dissly a free agent? I'd sign him cheap. He's big, he can block, and is decent in the red zone.
I think he is. Actually, yeah, he's still out there.
So go look at him. Again, Mike, I think this is just a bunch of talk around town. I can't imagine bringing Jonnu Smith back. I just can't. Because things haven't changed enough for him to be better. Where, someone might say Aaron Rodgers will improve because he has more weapons. That makes sense. What would it logically be that you could say about Jonnu Smith that would justify him coming back? I can't. Mike,
nothing.
He was one of the least productive. And here's the thing about it. He was one of the least productive that they tried to use. You could say that Roman Wilson was not productive. He didn't get the opportunities. Of course, guys like Scotty Miller was not productive. But the opportunities given to Jonnu Smith, the ball went his way plenty of times through the season, Mike. Mm-hmm. And that's why he's in that category. And then maybe by himself on the team, he really did very close to nothing. And certainly a letdown for me.
A major letdown, because he was seen as like a nice little sweetener on that deal to send Minka to get Jalen and him. You're like, oh my God, this is like the cherry on top for what he can do. And it's just nothing there. Like, I don't think, getting a better offensive line and a better coaching staff is all of a sudden going to make him accelerate faster.
I agree. I got to go back and watch tape of what the hell he did in Miami. It went from one extreme to the other. He's an all-pro and it's a Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
He had the greatest year and he had all these yards. And the fact of the matter was, it wasn't because he didn't accomplish it. Just watching him play, he just didn't have it. He was not elusive. He didn't. He didn't make open field plays. There was nothing about him that you liked.
Yeah, I know everyone's arguments can be, well, you had Tyreek and Waddle taking people away from him, but even here, like when he was wide open, he was still missing shit. He's still having those guys beside you is not going to make you run faster. You're not getting a little speed boost. This isn't a video game.
You're right.
He just showed no athletic ability last year whatsoever.
Let's go right here to Tommy Strings. He says that's what I was thinking about the tight end situation as well, Mike. Tortilla says he's 30 though. Yeah. You better pay us money to come play here. Shaping up for Jonnu. Start writing the checks, man. Yinzer Joe says, let Johnny play running back. He did have a rushing touchdown. He did.
Good.
You know what? In that Matt Canada offense, Mike, he would have been something else with all the jet sweeps. He missed that ship sailed. He missed
That ship sailed. Yeah, he missed his time.
Tortilla says this. John, who played like he was wearing jeans.
Yes, he did.
Brand new jeans that he's never worn before. He's
Non-broken or like fresh out of the dryer, not even loosened up yet.
Tommy Strings also says this: not having Smith this year may force Rodgers to use Pat. Exactly. Listen, don't get me wrong. Pat Freiermuth don't make a bunch of open field guys miss either. But he'll catch the ball and he'll make plays. He does gain yards. And the thing that everybody's mind goes back to, Mike, when you talk about Pat Freiermuth anymore, unfortunately, is a incomplete pass that Aaron Rodgers threw to him down the right sideline early last season. And for whatever reason, now all of a sudden people don't think the guy can play tight end. Mike, until the moment, basically when Aaron Rodgers come along, and whenever starting to have their quarterback problems, of course, like he started to fall off. But the first few years of his career, there's nothing that indicates that it's anything that he's doing differently in the fall off that you see in the numbers. It's just the way that the team was operating, the decisions that they decided to make. And Pat Freiermuth got cut down, Mike. But as I said, in the first couple years of his career, he had more catches than any Steeler wide receiver at that first couple year point of their career. So to say that he's not this guy, he doesn't have it. It's truly it's wrong. It's not correct, Mike. Again, it was just they decided to go Jonnu Smith over Pat, and Jonnu Smith failed miserably.
He failed miserably, and you can see too, like when he had like Ben as his quarterback, they were lighting it up. Those two, Ben knew how to utilize his ability,
right?
And every quarterback since did not know how to. Hey, I have a guy who can run the middle of the field, who can run deep outs and shit like that. Nah, I'm not going to throw him the ball. I'm not going to get him involved in the offense. Was a huge head scratcher to me.
Yeah.
It's he was on pace to have a better career than Heath Miller, and Heath Miller had a damn good career here.
The best career ever as a Steeler tight end, of course. Heath Miller. Right here, Sommer says, I bet Pat has been working his ass off all off season. He knows he'll be important in this offense again. And I hope you're right, and I hope that he is. And I do think that he will be if they use him right. And like with an offensive-minded head coach in the new system, there's no way that you can't not use Pat Freiermuth. Like, I think he'll be very involved this year in the offense, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. Good on him, because again, the guy, even he's playing the game. He's trying, he's working his ass off, doing what he does from the very beginning, Mike, as a Steeler. And again, things didn't go his way, but now he worked through that and worked through that time, worked through the Steelers bringing a guy in, playing him in front of him. So, you know what? Good for Pat. If he, once he gets that opportunity this year, I hope he makes the best of it. I hope an injury doesn't cut him short or anything like that. I would like to see him do well again, because again, I don't think that he didn't play well to lose the job. I just think that this was a team they were trying to build with Arthur Smith and bringing all these tight ends, and that was the philosophy of Arthur. In the end of the day, I think Pat got screwed by that.
Yeah, he got screwed, but they have to find a way to feed him the rock, because you're going to have those two big guys on the outside. I know DK likes to work the middle of the field too, and you get two monsters in the middle of the field. Which way are you going to shade your coverage?
Yeah.
To one of those guys, and you got Pittman Jr. on the outside. Then you never know who else we bring in, receiver from the draft, or what their skill set's going to do to help balance out this offense. So Pat Freiermuth needs to be a huge, huge part of this offense.
Absolutely. Let's go right here to where Yinzer Joe says Heath had Ben. Muth hasn't had anyone throw him the ball. He wasn't going to be better than Heath unless we find our quarterback. Also, let me go back a little bit. Yinzer Joe did say, he says, them were some tight ass jeans. LOL. And I do think I missed a couple back here. Yinzer Joe said, okay, we did get that. I do want to say welcome to Irony. Irony, welcome to the show. Irony says, Yummers, welcome to have great to have you on the terrible board. And I know there's something else I missed down here as well. Possibly. There we go. Dude, let's go back to Dude. Mike, all the way back to Dude. Dude says this: other than Rodgers, no bridge quarterback. It will still be the same situation for the third year in a row.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where we be, guys. Tight ends. we will see how that plays out. Of course, Jonnu Muth. I think we're going to be fine. And again, it's a third string tight end when it comes down
Yeah.
to. You have a Darnell Washington, and you have a Pat Freiermuth. Which, Mike, you look at good teams that have two good tight ends generally. Let's look at the Patriots, Mike, when they had before, of course, Aaron Hernandez and Gronk on the same team. When you get two good tight ends, Mike, you can really do different things with your offense, and it opens things up for your receivers and your running game as well. But again, any play could be your last play of the season, so I understand getting that depth. But at the end of the day, Mike, I think Darnell Washington and Pat Freiermuth is a nice set of tight ends to have.
Oh, so do I. And they both have skill sets that complement each other. Patty Fry's not the best blocker. Darnell Washington is. Darnell might not be the best route runner, but Pat Freiermuth is a very good route running tight end. They complement each other well, but when they both get the balls in the hand, they both can make something happen. Pat Fry, he's not nifty and nimble, but he's not going to run you over. But he finds ways to make yards after the catch. And Darnell, you know what happens. You give him the ball in the hand, no one's going to tackle his ass. So I would love to see those two being utilized the way Hernandez and Gronk were, in the way before their Ben Coates and the other tight end that they had on those crossing routes. There's just confusing people in the middle of those defenses, man. They both guys have the ability to turn a five-yard little dump off into a 10-yard gain. So just utilize that skill set.
Absolutely. And the thing is, once Darnell Washington gets exposed and people see that he's impossible to bring down, I mean, just play him like a power forward in basketball. You know what I mean? It's not even route running with him. He's such a big man. Just put the ball in his vicinity and make
2 years ago. 2 years ago, they were opening, when we had Russ, we were opening games the four-yard out route to a Darnell, and they would get long gainers for him. All of us, they stopped going to him, but no one could stop him. Little things like that, man, they're just eating up yards. You need to do consistently with Darnell Washington and hopefully Mike McCarthy and Achilleo or Archipelago, whatever our offensive coordinator's name is. I keep butchering his name, so I'm just going to keep going with it. Hopefully they can draw similar plays up and don't be afraid to keep running them until the other team can't stop them.
And you know what I would do with him? Every time that the other team has the extra DBs on the field, you're taking linebackers off. So I would, whenever it's a pass defense, just get him in the middle of the field and get him the ball, because again, now you have smaller guys on the field trying to tackle him. Yes, they're quicker. Yes, they have better skill. But at the end of the day, he oversizes. I mean, look what he did to the safeties and the corners in the Cincinnati game last year, Mike.
Right?
I mean, these are the safeties and the corners in the NFL, and he ran them over, and he literally ducked under Geno Stone's tackle. I don't know how that's even possible.
Right?
But again, at the end of the day, Mike, I just think that he has so much. And I think this is the talent that he always had. I've said it since he was a rookie, but everyone says you got to give him time. You got to let him grow. You have to let him learn. When you have a freak of that nature, right? You know me, I love freaks. When it comes to sports, I'm all about the freaks. And Darnell Washington is a freak. And again, you could use people differently, Mike. You could use freaks differently than you use regular people. And again, at the end of the day, find the mismatches, because Darnell Washington could make a lot of noise if he gets the ball, certainly in mismatches. Somebody that's considerably smaller, somebody that's considerably less athletic, Mike, you could make some serious noise. And again, use him in ways that the Patriots use their, as you said, guys crossing, everything else. You got to be creative. You just got to, some things I think we kind of lost over time, Mike, but if we get back into that worrying and focusing on our offense, I think we could do some big things with this show.
I think so too. I'm looking for the ball to come out of Aaron Rodgers' hands quick, not like last year in a panic to get rid of the ball, but to get the ball into the hands of the playmakers and let them do what they need to do, and then soften that defense up to hit those shots over the top. Because DK is a burner, but he's best used on the quick in routes to allow him to get the ball in his hands and go. The same thing with those tight ends. And then, you can hit some long, deep passes with DK and his speed and Pittman with his size. And then if you draft a receiver who's tall and can fly down the field, that will help you stretch the defense. And then, so when they come down in, hey, we're going to hit our burner over the top. Oh, no, we got to back off. Oh, guess what? We're going to keep attacking the middle of that field. This offense on paper has a chance to be a top 10 offense, not just in scoring, but in yardage, time of possession, all those fun things that are going to help the defense, which we haven't even had a chance to talk about yet. That offense, man, is going to help out the defense so much more. But this is kind of what we were talking about last year. On paper, this is what we can do in this type of offense, the Arthur Smith offense. That's kind of what we're doing with the Mike McCarthy offense, but I think the Mike McCarthy offenses have a better track record in the NFL. They didn't work just for 1 year or 2 years down in Tennessee. They've worked in Green Bay for years. They're still working now in Dallas. They're still using a lot of the same play concepts down in Nolans when McCarthy came through there and people of his staff came through down there. So yeah, this offense should be a whole hell of a lot better. If not, it's going to be a long season and then an even longer off season.
I couldn't agree more, Mike. I just think that a guy like him, he's just you have to prepare for him, and you have to.
He's a weapon.
And as you're, like I said, as you're trying to get your speedsters keeping up with our speedsters at wide receiver and do this and do that, you have to worry about this guy that is capable of running all of your guys over en route to a touchdown. So again, Mike, they have to prepare for him. And again, this is why I love freaks. You have to pay special attention, and you have to focus on preparing for them. And again, that takes away from trying to figure out how to stop our wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, running backs, running game, so on and so forth. So excited about Darnell Washington, Mike, another year in the NFL. I'd like to see him really take off this year, as I loved him since day one. One of the Georgia guys that I actually loved since day one. I'm not a big fan of this Georgia rush, but I do like Darnell.
I love him too. I love when we got him here, and I think he's become more fluid as an athlete since he's been here. I think he moves better. I thought he was a little clunky when he got here, but you can see what he was able to do even when he was clunky. It was awesome, and now he's getting so much better year after year. They just keep feeding him the rock any chance you get.
And this kind of falls into this new, the bully attitude. They wanted to do the bully thing a couple years ago. It didn't quite work out.
Yeah.
And they're sticking with that theme, and they're sticking with tough guys and strong guys and bully attitude. And, with him, you could do things like this. So very, very excited again about Darnell Washington heading into the 2026 season. Let's jump on the board here, Mike, for a couple messages. Tortilla says Darnell's drag show. Let me scoot up, and I'm going to come back. I want to try to keep him in context here. Yinzer Joe says Mount Washington has to watch them legs, though. It looks to me like they're trying to chop him down, which is going to be a hard thing to handle. Might break a leg, which would suck for us. Absolutely, that would be terrible. But you're right. These bigger guys, that is a concern of theirs. Mike, the knees don't usually last forever if you have this kind of size in any sport.
Oh yeah, especially you're going after their legs. We saw what happened last year when he got super low and ended up taking a hit to the helmet to the arm and breaking his arm. So maybe sometimes I hate when he hurdles, but I love it at the same time. I'm afraid when they go and do that, they're going to blow out a knee. So he's got to figure out a way that works best for him to run those guys over, but also protect himself at the same time.
Absolutely. Let's go to RB, the great RB of the staff, actually on the board right here. RB says this, guys. He says 1,000%. But you can see it coming together with all the bigger bodies. You're starting to see the blocking is going to be important, even from the wide receivers. Why is that? Using the passing game as long handoffs, RB says, and trying to set up the yak. Also, he follows it up by saying you're going to see a lot of decoy clear out routes where the guy who appears to be the first read is actually the decoy / blocker for the second or third guy coming through after the zone has been cleared. And follows it up by saying this, Mike, if you want to play man, good luck against all that size, especially with today's game. And also in the division with smaller, faster DVs. And you're right, because the size of DK is imposing, and the size of Pittman is nice, and the size of Darnell Washington is freakish. So again, and Pat Freiermuth, even for that matter, 6'4", 6'5". So this big group of physical guys, I think this is the direction they want to go. And you know what? It's a direction to go if ran correctly. Again, I want to see what Coach M and staff has been playing for this offense, Mike. Again, we're not going to see it in July. We're going to be watching a lot of preseason games, vanilla offense, things like that. So there's going to be no real indication of how things are going to look until September comes around, October. We really start moving. But I am certainly interested, and I can't wait to see Mike McCarthy's offense in play at least in preseason, just to kind of get an idea maybe of what we're going to get in the 2026 campaign.
We're not going to see everything, but we're going to get a good look at the foundation of the offense is going to be and what their vision is out there. Once the preseason game starts, I'm excited for it. And can't the draft get here? Because I want to see who we get and how they're going to fit into these schemes. Because there's already there's a handful of receivers that fit the body type that McCarthy has drafted over the years, and I think a decent amount of them would fit in perfectly here with what we're trying to do.
Tommy Strings says, guys, if Vegas slips to 21, are you going hands down pick on him? I want a top wide receiver too, if possible, but Vegas sounds like a generational player. Me personally, I do grab Vega with the first, and then I get the best possible wide receiver I could possibly get in the second round. You're still going to have nice wide receivers in the second round because this is a receiver heavy draft, if you will. Tommy, I think that would be my move. I grab Vega 21, and then I'm looking at the best. One of the, who I like the best.
Yeah.
Because we have our eyes on guys. Certainly I would go after that second. Like, that seems to be the logical way this plays out. But you know what? Sometimes the Steelers, they trick you on draft day.
Yeah.
How many times do you think you have these guys figured out? Like, okay, well, we need this, we need that. And then they go and they find something else that you need. And you're like, oh, well, shit, that works out.
Yeah.
But it never even crossed my mind, Mike. Again, Fatanu certainly wasn't who we were looking at when he got drafted. And go down the list. The Steelers generally do that. They keep you on your toes when it comes down to the draft.
Yeah, even like last year's pick with Harmon. I had a feeling we were going to go D-line, but I didn't realize it would be him. I thought it would have been who was it? From Mississippi last year, Mississippi State. Nolan or whatever. I thought that would be the guy. We had the position with the guy wrong. Here at the Steelers, I have no problem with them going guard first round. Those unsexy picks tend to be the best. And interior offensive linemen have either the highest or the second highest success rate out of first round draft picks in the NFL. So there's a reason why successful teams draft linemen in the first round. They tend to have the better career and a better hit rate. So I have no problem doing that. And then you could probably even wait till the third round to get a wide receiver that can be a productive receiver in the NFL for a long time. And quick plug to the website, head on over there. RB has his rankings for the 2026 receivers. Chop had his out last week. RB fires back with his response for the receivers as well. So check it out after the show about the best receivers in the draft. That one of them, or hopefully two of them, will be a Pittsburgh Steeler.
And if you're really starving for your draft news, do get over to our website, guys. There are a lot of good writing, a lot of good articles, a lot of good information, and very informative from the guys on the draft team, Mike. And they will be, as the weeks go on, becoming a little bit more and more steady on the show. I think RB is going to be by a couple times this week. And again, Mike, just a little over 3 weeks away, if you will, from the NFL draft. 24 days. This Thursday is going to be 3 weeks exactly. It's truly fascinating how fast time is moving. But you know what? I agree with everything that you just said. Let's get back. Let's do something. What was I thinking about doing, Mike?
I can't remember.
Let's get back on the board. Right about somewhere, huh? Steeler Freak says this. Steeler Freak. John, my man, says this. He says, I just got off the phone. I'm buying an RV camper van that can fit on a normal parking lot. It will take a few months to pay. I plan on a hangout in Pittsburgh. Come on up, dude.
Yeah, awesome, bro.
Dude, you could listen. Big John Stud.
Middle name Mud.
Get your ass up here. Well, you could pull your RV in the lot of our station in our studio. That'd be awesome, dude. Yinzer Joe says this: when you don't have any clarity on Bro Jones' injury, or you don't plan on signing his fifth-year option, we need to get Vega in the fold. And you know what? And it obviously, people are going to say, well, that's a guard, not a tackle. But the point is, if you shore up this offensive line, then all of a sudden you could start hyper focusing, Mike, on that left tackle position. If you bring in this guard, I mean, come on, that's from your left guard all the way to your right tackle. You're going to be this is your line. This is what Weedle and Kahn wanted to do, Mike. They wanted to build this line and make it solid and kind of build around it. And as you were saying, this doesn't change suit of anything they've been doing. It's maybe a different coaching staff, But because it is the same GM, it is Andy Weidel still involved. Mike, they still do want to build this team around linemen and have the best possible line, like Philadelphia did with their team, the way they built. So I'm all for it. I have no doubt in my mind. Listen, I have no problem in my mind. And I personally think that we will go after that guard at the beginning of the day from Penn State, Mike. And at the end of the day, it certainly follows the way Steelers do things. And I would be surprised if they go anything outside of those two positions, 1 and 2, talking about the left side of the offensive line and the wide receiver.
Yeah, because you take him him being Vega in the first round, you take him at guard, and that doesn't preclude you from taking a tackle in the third round, switching him to right and kicking Fatano out to left, and then boom, there's your line. You've corrected the Broderick Jones problem. You've built your line successfully in 3 drafts, while also upgrading other positions of need through the draft too, because 4 picks in the top 100 as we sit right now, or is it 5? 4 or 5 in the top 100. 5 picks in the top 100. 3 of those guys hit. It's a damn good draft class. And, like I said, offensive linemen have the best hit rate in the first round. So it's not 100%, but it's damn near close that if you take Vega in round 1, that's a hit right there. And you hit on your first round draft pick, everything else is cake after that. So there's ways to address the tackle position, the left side, without having to use the first round pick on an offensive tackle.
Yeah. RB says this. He says, I disagree. The drop off from tier 1 to tier 2 is much, much, much greater than the drop off from tier 1, tier 1G to tier 2G. I love Vega, but logically, he's not much better than Dunker or Pregnon. Mike.
Ooh, I wouldn't be opposed to Dunker or Pregnon as well. If you can get one of those guys in the second round, we might have to trade up just by where we're drafting and go and get them. But I really like Vega, and that might just be the Penn State bias coming out.
What do you prefer, RB? Do you prefer we go after that guard at the top tier guard, or do you think that we go with the wide receiver in the first round? Just kind of curious. Again, a lot of everything that is going through the amazing mind of RB, I got to be honest with you, is on the website. Go check it out, www.d2dumyinzers.com. That's www.d2dumyinzers.com. RB has a lot of his scoop, again, very informative articles over at the website. RB, certainly on top of the draft. We love it. Jamal, what's up, brother? Gang to you, sir. Black Magic 7777. Always great seeing Jamal on the terrible board. Hope you had a great weekend. RB says this, compare to Fanu/Miller to Northwestern kid and the Miami guy. Jamal says this. Did you guys hear Debo say he has a meeting with Joe Burrow, and technically it's not tampering because he doesn't work for the team. I didn't see this, but I seen Pac-Man Jones coming out saying quit tampering and blah 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 blah. Yeah, no, I seen it. You know what? I would give up half of our team to bring in Joe Burrow. I'm going to be honest with you, but that seems to be going on. Mike, Debo, what's your thoughts on this whole thing?
It's an epic troll job by Debo on the entire, not just the Bengals fan base, now the alumni, now the old vets are getting involved in it as well. Well done, Debo.
Yeah, no, great stuff. Again, it's division. It's going to be words back and forth. You got former Bengals talking on former Steelers and former Steelers saying this and that. So it's fun. Again, this is something that the Browns don't know how to do. At least the Bengals players can be cheeky and fun sometimes.
Yes.
The Browns are just total adults when it comes down to it. So you can't have fun with them. They're just going to continue to be the silly Browns at the end of the day, I think you could say. Let's do Scoot Long right here. Always great seeing you, though, Jamal. Joe says Vega has gotten better by only allowing 4 pressures and no sacks. What's good, Vegas? Always great seeing you on the board. He says, what's good, fellas? My man, Vegas, all the way from Las Vegas. Nice to see you, sir. RB follows his comments up with this. I'm going tackle, then guard, then wide receiver, then safety, then middle linebacker, then wide receiver again, then purely best player available the rest of the way out. I like it. It sounds well calculated, as RB usually is. Mike, and a lot of people don't realize. I don't know if you remember, folks, that during the CBS Pick'ems this fall into winter, when the football season was happening in the NFL, RB was Mike, he was our champion right here on the two Dum Yinzers. Wasn't with the crew yet, but he was a very strong player, very calculated RB, Mike. I can't say enough good about him. That's what his opinion, Mike. He says he would go tackle, guard, wide receiver, then safety or linebacker, then come back around, grab a wide receiver again, and then BPA.
And that's more or less what, like, when I've been tinkering with the drafts and stuff, just to kind of get a feel of like what the consensus is out there from like fans, and they get all their stuff in the media too. So people tend to draft the same, the way they think teams are going to say. That's more or less what I've been doing with the Steelers, is building the lines in the first 2 rounds or first 3 rounds, and then get my wide receivers. I think there's a lot of good receivers there. Then safety, linebacker in there as well. I've been thinking about like a running back too, because if we're not sold on Caleb Johnson and Jalen Warren and Rico Dwaddle, they 2 undrafted guys, get a guy with a little bit better pedigree in there to compete with them as well for the long-term future. I've been looking at that way as well too, but I'm kind of in the same mind as RB. But one guy that, I've always been trying to get in my mocks that I do is the big bastard on our thumbnail, Dante Corleone.
Yeah, I know you like him.
I love Dante Corleone, man. He's just, you look at him, you want him to be a Pittsburgh Steeler.
And my buddy, one of my best friends, actually, we grew up together. We talk. He's not really into sports, but he's a Dago, and he wants Corleone so bad. I'm like, bro, you don't even watch football. He's like, no, we got to get Corleone.
A name like Corleone, trust me.
Yeah, let's get back on the board. I did miss one right somewhere here, right where RB says this. Most of the McCarthy style wide receivers are also mostly 3rd to 5th round guys. Hurst, Lance, Lane, etc., etc., etc. Let's go right here to Robert. What's up, Robert? Great seeing you on the board, man. Always great seeing you actually on the terrible board. Hope you had a great weekend as well, my friend. Robert says this: Dunker or Rutledge is serviceable, while Vega will be a first team All Pro. There is a huge difference, and usually you get that guy like Vega. He's just very consistent for long term, like an Alan Faneca, or you draft a guy like this, you just know they're going to be here for a long time. They're going to be. It's not going to be anything you're going to have to worry about for quite a few years.
That's how I feel about him too. I think he's going to be that level. The other guys, I think, are going to be good too. I just think that he's a step above. I think Pregno might be the closest one to him, and I think he might be. I think he's going to be really good too. So if you walk away from the draft with either one of those, that would be a home run for me.
Let's go right here to where Yinzer Joe says this: I feel like Dunker's a project. Not only that, he's expected to be a 2nd round pick. I'm not as high on him. I like Vega. And I think with Vega, as was said on the board, he's just the more generational talent. He's the guy that's going to be that. But these other guys, Mike, I don't have anything against them, as the McCormicks and the McCollums and, these guys, they tend to work out for the Steelers. So, I mean, even if you get one of these guys that are just under the guard from Penn State, it wouldn't be out of the line for the Steelers to do, Mike, because, again, you throw a guy like McCollum in there and the guy's still playing.
Yeah, I think Dunker's way better than McCollum was coming out. And I think he'd be better right now playing than McCormick. And I like McCormick a lot more than some people do. But, I've like – taking guys even in the 2nd round, they're still going to have a little bit of work to be done. It's just how much work do they have to have done on them outside of the 1st round. Like, if you get someone in the 1st round and say, "Oh, we still got a lot to teach them," you kind of fucked up your 1st round draft pick.
Right.
Your 1st rounder, you should be ready to just start right away. Then 2nd round, by mid camp, we're going to be happy where he's at. Then then it should grade down by as you go down the draft. So taking Dunker in the 2nd round wouldn't bother me if he needs a little work, because I think he's going to be one of those guys. Like, what he lacks in technique right now, he'll make up more in that nastiness and effort.
Yeah,
kind of like Hoffman, who we brought in, but I think he has so much more talent than Hoffman is going to be, and he's younger, and you're going to be able to mold that talent to be better. So it kind of makes sense to, like, if they would look for someone like him, because you got the similar style player in Hoffman. They can back each other up, and he can learn from them.
Vegas, Mike says, he says we could borrow Joe like Debo borrowed that dude's bike on Friday.
Hell yeah.
What you go to my Super Bowl, punk? That's my quarterback. My quarterback now.
I'm just going to tuck my quarterback in my shirt.
Just gonna tuck mine in. Yes, great reference. Obviously, Vegas. I'm really close just to the reference alone, giving you the game ball, but it's still early. I'm gonna hold off. I'm gonna hold my reservations on that, just because the board they're tight, they're tough, Mike. Always coming up with good and creative things on the board. But this, I'm gonna borrow your quarterback, being
That
a
was gold.
Debo reference, is certainly leading the way so far. RB says this, Mike. I really want to nose tackle into halfback. Mark Malone, what's up to Mark Malone, my man on the terrible board? He says this: I like a player to have special attributes. Guys like Beck, Dunker, and Curleone. What? Beck has he looks like ET.
This is Beck's special talent.
Yeah, come on. Oh, God bless him. Come on, take that off, man. Also, Mike, of course, Dunker with his mullet and Curleone with his name. Mark Malone, he does have a certain way. He has a way about him when it comes to his players. No two ways about it. Mark, always great to see you, sir. Welcome to the board. RB says this, but someone like Curleone will fall because he only fits 3-4 schemes. Corleone might got a Cincinnati. I got to be honest. I don't follow to the degree where like RB does with these college guys. But at the end of the day, it seems like a guy from Corleone, a defensive lineman from Cincinnati. He could fit right in there at the end of the day, I think. And again, I don't think it's out of the question. He seems like he could be later. Like what round do you see Corleone being able to still be around?
It all depends. It all depends on like how like the teams that run the 3-4 value him. He can be. Excuse me. It wouldn't surprise me if he comes off the board in the third round.
Okay.
I just short, fat guys that are strong like him are going to be valuable to teams that run the 3-4 and value that nose. I think RB addressed those teams on the board, like Pittsburgh, Baltimore, the Rams, and like maybe one or two others. And teams are going to start getting worried. Like, okay, we can wait on them. These teams haven't picked them yet, but the later you go, those teams are going to get jumpy and take them. So I have no problems with the Steelers taking them in the third round. I'd love to take them at pick 85. Fuck it. Make sure you get them. If you really love him, go and get that guy, because I think he can solve a lot of problems when we go base.
I'm going to go to Joe. He says, RB, you like Big Citrus? RB follows RB not exactly responding to that just yet, Mike. He says not 3-4, but the 3-4 teams would, or not the 3-4 defense, but the 3-4 teams would actually use him. The Rams, Baltimore, and New England. And here, as you were saying, Mike, also Tommy Strings says this: yes, I'm happy with the Godfather or Big Citrus. A lot of people liking Curleone, Mike. A lot of people like this guy.
I like Corleone, and I also like the Big Citrus, not because of his nickname too, but I like the way he moves for someone as big as he is. I think he has some fluidity in those hips.
RB says, I agree, but once your top 5 tackles are gone, will be serviceable at best if they are even that. The tackle is more important than guard. You can hide guards. You can't hide tackles without taking away roots from tight ends. Also, Yinzer Joe says this. He says, yeah, I get that, but you don't think his attributes wouldn't work for us? Tortilla says Beck has ex-gay vision. Ronald says this. Hi, guys. I know a lot of people want Vega from Penn State, the left guard, of course. However, I think the writing is on the wall. Yinzer Joe says, what if we were able to draft Orange in Corleone because he's a 3-4 guy?
I would love to have Orange and Corleone, because you can move Orange. I think RB addresses it. You move him out to DN. You got Corleone right in the middle, and then Harmon on the other side. I love that. That can be your line of the future.
Ronald says this. Ronald Albright says, guys, our new drafted left guard will be Rutledge, no doubt in my mind. Also, RB says, I love Big Citrus, but as a DE, not a nose tackle. And finally, Somber says plenty of nose tackle types. McClellan in the 4th or 5th round.
Big old McClellan out of Missouri.
Let's talk about Mike. Let's drop back from the offensive line, or let's drop back from the lines in general.
Yeah.
Is it, Mike? Do the Steelers draft a quarterback in this draft? Again, we know that we're going to find out in the next 24 days, supposedly, what's going on with Aaron Rodgers at 42 years old. To be 43 at some point through the season next year. Let me ask you this. Let's just say that we either don't know or Aaron Rodgers is not going to come back, which, again, both defy what is being said. Again, somebody in Pittsburgh says that they're what do they say, Mike? Trust me, he's
Trust
coming
me.
back. Trust me. Now it's trust me. I'm not just going to throw days out and let them be wrong. Now I'm going to say trust me. But Mike, if one of those two situations go down the way that I said, do the Steelers have to get another quarterback in this round? Again, I know a lot of Ty Simpson talk. I don't know how much this is playing into smoke and mirrors. But what's the chances? Let's say the Steelers grab a quarterback in this draft.
If Rodgers doesn't come back, I'm probably going to say it's 100% if Rodgers doesn't come back. They're
Rodgers says I'm done, and it's you get a quarterback no matter what.
I think they will. Not as a panic, but as part of their plan of, okay, we're going to get another body in here. And wouldn't surprise me if it's a mid to late round pick, someone like Cole Payton, Sawyer Robinson, Drew Aller. I don't want Aller, but I know they've spoken with him. They've spoken with him. Carson Beck, but are you going to waste a third round pick on Carson Beck?
Right.
Like these other guys you can get later in the draft after you've already established your solid draft class.
Right.
So it wouldn't surprise me. Like if say it's like Sawyer Robinson or Cole Payton sitting there in the 6th round, take them and see if you can turn him into a backup. But I don't think anyone's going to be a long-term starter. I don't think anyone really outside of Mendoza has a shot of being a legit starter in the NFL in this draft. But they might take one just to, hey, we need a quarterback. We have a shit ton of picks. And if one's sitting there in the 5th, 6th, 7th round, we'll take one.
Mike, Aaron Rodgers, his decision is named one of the biggest storylines, of course, of the offseason. I think that's the way that Aaron likes it.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? I think the NFL likes it too.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of the day, this is something that's keeping you talking about the NFL around the calendar.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, I think the NFL likes this. I think Aaron likes this. He likes his attention. But this, of course, is one of the bigger decisions, of course, being made this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
There's no denying that. Let's see what's going on the board, Mike. I seen some things here. I seen some funny things along the way. But as we were on this conversation about Aaron, let's see what we could find. First, let me jump back to RB where he says, not a true 0-tech 3-4 nose tackle unless you're sub 6'2", 330 pounds. Mark Maloney says this, they brought Beck in for a reason. I think they brought him in just to make fun of him and laugh at him. But Mark Malone says they brought Beck in for a reason. Also,
to laugh.
Yes.
To laugh. To show him this.
You guys got to see this. Let me bring this.
Look, is this your cousin? That's why we brought him in.
Let's go right here. Vegas, he says, I automatically don't trust people that tell me to try. Exactly. Let's go right here to Cody. Cody says this. He says, the Kabul shitter says Rodgers makes a decision within the next 2 to 6 months. Yeah. I guarantee he'll make his decision before the start of the season. Let's go right here to Inja Joe. Inja Joe says this. I don't think we're getting a quarterback. I think it's smoke and mirrors just to throw off the rest of the league. I can see us getting a top quarterback next draft. I think that's ideally the situation that we want. So I could roll with that for sure. Let's also go to Ronald. Ronald says this. I forgot from what podcast I heard it, but he was saying that there were rumors of Highsmith to Dallas on a trade plus our 21 pick for the 12 pick plus a 4th round swap. We have I seen that as well.
Yeah.
Again, I think that we're going to kind of see it come and go because Dallas has been tied to every single defensive player this offseason that you could possibly imagine. I can't think of many players out there, Mike, on any defense that hasn't been mentioned to be connected to the Dallas Cowboys. They're really they're desperate to get that defense back.
They are, and if the Steelers are looking to move an outside linebacker, Highsmith would be the one to go because you're tied to the huge contract with Watt, and you want to move forward with Herbig and. I like to keep all 3 of those guys, but it's not going to make sense. So if you were to have to make a trade, I wouldn't mind making that trade. Move up to the 12th pick overall. Sign me up. Sign me up. And you might move down a little in the 4th round, I think, or we move up in the 4th round as well too. Fuck it. Sign me up. I'd hate to see Highsmith go. I like him. I think he's a very good edge out there. Nothing spectacular, but really good, better than one has been. But yeah, he's the one that you could trade. It would make the most sense for both teams.
And I wouldn't have a problem with that, Mike. I would not have a problem. Again, I think at some point the two guys that are in front is going to have to make way for Nick Herbig to be the next guy coming up. And again, you just know that there's this love affair with TJ Watt in the Steelers office, and they love having this guy as the face. So the next logical thing would be Alex Highsmith, of course, but somebody's going to have to get out of the way at some point. Otherwise, you're going to lose the guy of the future. He's going to be somebody else's future, and then we're going to still be stuck with of age and aging players. So at the end of the day, I would not hate this at all, Mike. I would actually like it. But again, we will see how the outside linebacker position plays out. Let's go right here to Cody. He says Mike loves Drew Aller, Penn State guy.
And I'm big. Fernando Mendoza has been my favorite player of all time.
And he's going to be a bust in Las Vegas. So Mark Maloney says Robertson could chuck the rock, man. Ty, what's up, dude? Always great seeing Ty. He says JPJ, the mother effing goat. And I say, you know what, Ty? I say that this. I say you, Ty, you are the GOAT, not JPJ. Royalty to the board right there. Tyrone, welcome to the show. Always great seeing you, my man. Ty says JPJ is the GOAT. Into Joe Smiles, Carrot is rumored to be traded to Dallas. I got to be honest with you, Mike. This here, Joe Hayden also. Joe Hayden says this. He thinks the Cleveland should consider trading Garrett. Mike, of course, on the Joe and Debo show. Is it out of the question? Listen, would it be more Browns-like to keep him and to continue to be unsuccessful, or to get rid of him and be known as the team that gave away Myles Garrett in his prime? What is more Cleveland-like to you?
Ooh, keeping him in losing after telling him, "Oh, we're gonna build a team around you. We're gonna build a Super Bowl contender." And that would be the most Cleveland thing. Well, actually, I take that back. because they submitted that rule change to get be able to trade for 5 future first-round draft picks.
Right.
They just rescinded that rule change. They withdrew their proposal and said, no, we're just going to scrap it. So maybe they found a team willing to offer up 3 first-round picks for Myles Garrett. So they might be the team that trades Myles Garrett in his prime and used those 3 first-round draft picks to whiff on 3 consecutive draft picks.
Yeah.
That would be the most Cleveland Browns move.
And again, surprise, that the Dallas Cowboys are just linked to another player on defense. It's just what's going on. It's just the flow of the league right now. Let's go right here to Tyrone. He says, sorry, I'm late. Work been long day and busy. What's going on, Mike? In the chat, everybody's great. Everybody's glad to see Ty on the board. Always glad seeing Ty on the board. Vegas says, what's good, Ty? Also, Cody says this. Who would you possibly want to move up to 12-4? We need to just stay at 21, Mike.
You move up to 12, you can get a receiver, you can get a corner, you can get a safety, possibly a middle linebacker if you want to move on from someone else. You can get a guard. There's a lot of guys you can get there, and you're going to have a better chance to get them at 12 than you would at 21. And it would suck giving up Highsmith, but you have Herbig there ready to go, and you potentially lose him next year for maybe a 3rd round compensatory pick the following draft. So I would rather, if any of that shit was going to happen, I'd rather have to trade Highsmith this year and move from 21 to 12.
Ty says Ryan's goat. Tortilla says, I heard Penn State is moving to Uranus. That would be fitting, Mike.
That would be fitting for that scumbag university.
Ronald Albright says this. Let's say Pittsburgh gets the 12th pick, and let's say somehow Sonny Styles, Lemon, and Tate are all available at 12. Mike, do you just say screw the offensive line and go grab somebody of mad talent? How do you handle that? Let's just say the Steelers do land that 12th spot and can do whatever they want. Mike, if you were in that position, what do you do?
First of all, once I'm going to go pound one out so I can have a clear clear mind going into this. And then I'm like, okay, do I want arguably the best linebacker in the draft, a receiver? I would go Sonny Styles. Just to watch him just roam in that defense
Yeah.
and just be a tackling machine. Maybe I'd go that route.
Yeah, it would be great. Again, his dad just north from Farrell High School would be something to see one of the Styles boys come to the Bird. And as a matter of fact, Farrell, Mike, they were the Steelers, and they still are the Steelers. So perfect circle that could be. Interesting thought. Let's go along on the board here and go to right here. Ginger Joe says, where is the contract extension for the GOAT JPJ? It's coming, Mike.
It's got to be coming. Like I said, training camp, man. Look for training camp. That's usually when you start seeing the extensions happen after the draft.
Let's go right here to where Tommy Strings, Mike, is saying this. Tommy Strings is saying, agree on a Highsmith move if the compensation is right. Love his play, but he's only healthy for a dozen games or so a year.
Yeah,
that's true. And and he always has a nagging groin. It's always this nagging groin that goes from year to year. Mike, he's been out with his groin a number of times.
The
past few years.
It's frustrating, but same thing could be said of Herbig. He gets banged up and nicked up as well.
Yeah, you're right. Vegas is trading picks 5 years in advance is lame as fuck. Also, let's go right here to Steeler Freak. He says, Ryan, no stress. When you have time, call. I'm putting the Pittsburgh plan in motion right now. That's awesome. That's awesome, man. All the way from Vegas. Be nice to see John, big Steeler Freak, on the terrible board. Let's go right here to Ty. Ty says, Mike, I'm trading up for Vega or wide receiver. That is it. Also, Tommy String says, Styles all day. I'd like to have one of them Styles boys, man. Absolutely. RB, Sonny Styles is a great combine that does not show up on tape to me. He's going to be good. He's not going to be what people were trying to project him to be. Interesting. Very interesting. Let's go up here. Mark Maloney says left tackle wouldn't be crazy. Also, RB says, I'm sorry, not RB. Let me scoot up just a little bit here. Yinzer Joe says I like Herbig, but he's got to work on his run stuffing. Sorry, Highsmith doesn't need to work. He's a technician. I don't know if we need to move up that little and create another issue for defense.
I agree, but I don't want to lose Herbig next year, and I think he's going to be a better player in the long run than Highsmith has been at this point. So me personally, Highsmith's unfortunately the one who has to go. When I think the best outside linebacking combo we have is literally Highsmith and Herbig in the Watco, but it's not going to work that way. And so unfortunately in this scenario, Highsmith would have to be the one to go. And I trading up from 21 to 12 without giving up any real draft capital, I'm for it because, this team's still a ways away from winning a Super Bowl, and Highsmith is not going to be a part of that Super Bowl winning team.
Well, that's not what the Athletic says, Mike. The Athletic says the Pittsburgh Steelers are amongst the teams in the league that are positioned to make a run in the playoffs, Mike. They, I guess, by just being the more improved team, one of the more improved teams in the offseason. Of course, the Athletic making this comment. It was a good time for me to throw that in there. The Athletic, Mike, is saying the Steelers are one of the better positioned teams to have a nice run in January.
I don't think they have a Super Bowl run, but I think we can win a playoff game in the first round. I think that's our ceiling. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
The thing is, we have no idea because, again, we've never seen the coach, the Pittsburgh Steelers coached by this coaching staff. So, again, it's impossible to say. But if you are making predictions, I listen, I think if the Steelers could win round one, I think they could also maybe put up a good game in round two because the way that the AFC is right now, I'm like, yes, they are. They're growing. They're becoming a stronger conference. But a lot of these teams are still early. As you've seen with New England last year, they were good, but they were still too early. They wasn't going to win the Super Bowl. The Broncos obviously felt they couldn't get it done without their starting quarterback. They're still a little early in this whole thing. And teams like Jacksonville, they're a team that could maybe win it in the playoffs at some point. But these are all very early teams, which makes me think if we could win in the first round, we just might be able to win in the second round, depending on who it is you're playing. And then again, in the third round, maybe see some of the more the serious contenders. But at this point, Mike, I don't know who the serious contenders are. Is it still the Bills? Is it still Kansas City? So the way these last couple seasons played out, Mike, you just don't know.
Yeah.
And if it's the time of a new era, a lot of these other teams are still too young, and people, you could say that about us, Mike, because we're building, we're still trying to put our team together. So maybe, why not? If these other teams could get in there and win 3 rounds and go to the Super Bowl, why can't a team like this? Why can't a team like the Steelers dig up a win? And as I said, if you get one, you get that first round win and get a favorable matchup in the second round, I think the Steelers could win a couple rounds. I do, but again, at the end of the day, we've never seen this team play under McCarthy, so we don't know. But just trying to piece it together in my head, Mike, I think that it could play out that way. I do.
For me, a lot of things would have to fall into the right place for that to happen. And I think even getting it, that first round win is going to take a lot a lot of things are going to have to go right. I think we're still a ways away, but I hope I'm wrong. Believe me, I do. I really hope I'm wrong, and this team can make a deep run in the playoffs. But right now, I just have. Our ceiling right now would be either a one and done or just a playoff one and then bounce in the next round.
Steeler Freak says this: the Steelers can go best players available, not bad place to be. Also, Tyrone says I would trade Highsmith for a 2020 draft capital. Followed by let's go right here to. It keeps scooting on me, and I don't know where. Here we go. Let's go to Ronald. Ronald Albright says this: with all of his craziness involving Rodgers, the draft, etc. I feel like Lloyd Bridges' character in Airplane looks like I picked a bad week to quit smoking, drinking, sniffing glue too. Oh man, that's rough.
Yeah, you were fine up until you stopped sniffing glue.
Yeah. Mark, you might have to involve Mark Malone in your plans now. I think he is the resident expert at the moment, but we'll keep monitoring Ronald as well. Cody says this: all 3 of those edge rushers are always injured, and that's another thing, Mike. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you have to lose somebody at some point, because you are. There's just not going to be enough money eventually. Yeah. But which when it comes down to which one of these 2 out of these 3 guys stay the healthiest, it's hard to say. It really is.
It is too, and that's why you got to keep them. Ideally, you want to keep them all, but you can't. And for the long-term future of the team, Herbig he's the younger player. He's going to be here longer. I'd rather keep him than. I wish we could let go of TJ Watt, but we can't. So that unfortunately makes Highsmith the odd man out. I don't want to get rid of Highsmith, but if you got to get rid of one of the 3, he makes the most logical sense, unfortunately.
Let's go to right here where he has Joe, who's stopping the run, not Herbig. He's a blitzer, not a run stuffer. Highsmith, when healthy, can do both. And that's a good question as well, Mike. I mean, everything we're talking about draft-wise, we're talking about this offensive line, we're talking about the guard, we're talking about receivers, we're talking about safeties. But at the end of the day, Mike, we had trouble last year at certain times. Those other times that were way a polar opposite of other performances. Again, you play Miami, who is running the football the best at a certain particular time in the league, and you come and you shut them down. I mean, we shut them down. And then there's another point where you're playing Buffalo, and they come to your city and they run 250 yards against you. So, some of the questions that are here, Mike, again, Cody's saying we just got blown out by Houston's defense. So at the end of the day, how close are we really? I think this, Mike, I think that it's just impossible to tell. You don't know what Mike McCarthy and Graham and the OC and everybody has, Mike, and what they're going to do and what they figure out along the way. I think it's almost impossible to tell, but that's a good point. Have we done enough or anything even to this point to stop the way that Buffalo was able to run against us last fall?
Well, hopefully, if we can get people like Dante Corleone, Dominic Orange, big, beefier guys up on the line too. That's going to help. New scheme will help. Alex Highsmith, yes, he PFF. He was their 5th edge rusher at run defense, and Herbig's not up into that category too, but he was ranked 23rd out of 115 edge rushers. Gotten better every year at stopping the run, and it shows up on film too. I don't want Highsmith to go, but like I keep saying, he makes the most logical sense out of all 3 to go. Watt's going to be a one helmet guy. Herbig's the future. If you have to move on from one, Highsmith unfortunately makes the most sense. And to if you would lose him, the way to address who's going to help with the run game is to have a better, beefier defensive line, and you address that with your third round picks and your fourth round picks on D linemen.
All right, let's jump in on some more of these messages. I don't want to get behind today. I'm going to try to keep up today. I swear I'm going to do it. Let's go to right here where Cody says, I don't want anything Dallas has. Dowdle, Brock, they're like the opposite King Midas. Everything they touch turns to shit. Let's go right here to Ty. Ty says trade PQ to Dallas. Unfortunately, the thing about that is, and again, we were just talking about another name, Mike, another name tied to the Dallas Cowboys. Unfortunately, with his 1 year on his contract, and I can't imagine at this point, Patrick Queen. We went through the free agent frenzy. Yeah. We went through the cooling down period of free agency. And at the end of the day, there was no moves made on Patrick Queen, and Mike, there really isn't any logical thing in play to move on from him at this point, is there? Because again, what are you going to do? How are you going to at least keep to that level of inside linebacker play? I don't know if we have it here on this team. I don't know what's available out there, Mike, but at this point it seems like they're going to let this contract play out. This is probably Patrick Queen's last season. I would more than likely say Patrick Queen's last season as a Steeler.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. It's going to be his last season, unless the new scheme and he comes in and plays lights out game in, game out, and has a damn good year, then you bring him back.
If he has a Pro Bowl season, you're not going to get.
You're not going to let him go out the door. No, you're going to say like, okay, the new scheme that we got, if we have better players in front of him eating up the blocks, and he's able to do what he needs to do. Okay, then you sign him. This like I've been saying too. None of these players are really married to this coaching staff. Everyone should be in audition mode when they go out there. Omar Khan and Rooney probably have a couple people that, they want to keep here for going into another contract, but you figured 90% of the rosters, you should be auditioning for this year and next year, because brand new coaching staff, man, they don't know you. Like the only ones that they really know are Hoffman and Dwaddle and a couple other guys going in here from free agency that they've overlapped with.
John says this. Mikey says that the defensive line didn't do the linebackers any favor. I agree. It was a bit of a mess. But again, if it comes down, maybe coaching can be the difference. We're going to learn a lot, Mike. If some of the mistakes are still around, some of the shortcomings are still around of things that we've seen over the past few years that we didn't like, and they're still the same after new coaching staff. I think then you can make a more educated move and decisions beyond that. So a lot will be learned about our team this year. There's no two ways about that. Tortilla says it's fun to sniff glue until you got to walk in Carson Beck's shoes. Let's go right here. Steeler Freak says Mike is right. Expecting Super Bowl isn't realistic. It was with the Killer Bees, but not right now. Let's go to Ronald. Ronald says this, and when it comes to our edge guys, please don't forget Jack Sawyer. To me, he is a great future of outside linebacker / edge, a guy who just comes up with the big run, big play, and can stop the run. You know what, Mike? He seems to be in the right place at the right time a lot of the times. This guy,
dude, he got better as the season went on.
He did.
I was not a big fan of him when we drafted him because I thought he just had a really good playoff run, and that was it. Wasn't impressed his career, but first handful of games, he looked lost and confused, which, in hindsight, I should have expected that out of a rookie. But as the season went on, he was making plays after play. He was Johnny on the spot for making impact plays. Yeah. And I think he has a really good future. Do I think he's going to be a star? No. Do I see him settling in as I want to say someone just a tier under Alex Highsmith, to where you're not going to be like wanting to give him a shit ton of money, but somebody you're going to keep around because they're going to make plays for you and be where they need to be.
Cody says this. I see us being the same. McCarthy is the same as Tomlin. Let's say our offense is good, our defense will suck. It's an interesting thought because, again, at the end of the day, if you're looking at things logically, I've kind of said my opinion was that Tomlin, Harbaugh, and of course Mike McCarthy all kind of fall into the same category. There are coaches that the league's kind of passed by in a way, but in a sense, Mike, you look at a guy like McCarthy who's took the year off. He took the year off. Sometimes when you remove yourself from a situation and you look at it, pervasively, you could come in with a whole different mindset, a whole different way of looking. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You know what? This is what I've been lagging behind. Oh, you know what? I could, if I just change the way I do this. So again, at the end of the day, I'm anxious to see what McCarthy and company do with the team at this point. I keep saying maybe it's going to be totally different, but as Cody is saying, maybe it's going to be a lot more similar than it is different. And that is just something that we don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what he does when he comes here. That's why I can't wait for camp. I can't wait for preseason. It needs to get here.
There's Tater. Let's go to Steeler Freak John. John says Rams. Rams fix their special teams. Cody says it's bad that Herbig is as injured as the other two, considering he's not a starter.
Yep.
Ty says this Cody Herbig would start on most other teams. Absolutely. Cody says Dallas probably couldn't afford Queen or Highsmith. Jack Sawyer's a beast, is what Ty is saying. Johnny says this. I plan to ask Mike to help buy and set up what I need for my fan. So plug in with guys professionally. The only problem is I am more fucked up than Ryan with automation and computer stuff. Hey, we get y'all set up, man. Cody says this. I'm just saying Herbig is a backup that gets injured too much. You're right. You're right. Tyrone says, yeah, true. People need to stay healthy and cope and hope McCarthy and Patrick Graham cooks up. And that's always such a key part of every season, Mike. It's always the injury bugs, and they certainly have hurt us more over the past 6-7 years than they have my whole life.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's just the way the league is going, the way they're handling injuries or what's going on, but staying healthy seems to be the biggest challenge anymore when it comes to football.
And it's frustrating. So because like all of a sudden your season feels like it's over at that point.
I know.
Once these guys are down, you're okay, we're fucked, we're done.
It's like one guy. It shouldn't have that, but it does. Tommy String says this: Anthony Hill Jr. from Texas or Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech would take Queen's place if we could get one of them in the draft, but it would probably have to be. That's what I'm saying. It's a difficult situation because then if you trade him off, then you're going to kind of have to go after somebody like that. And if their cutoff is the second round, we have other things we have to worry about. So for these reasons, he's just not that problem yet. We have an offensive line problem. We have a wide receiver problem that we've been working on and improving, but it just doesn't feel like Patrick Queen is the problem of the month, the problem of the flavor of the month, if you will, Mike. It really feels to me as of you're creating that hole, you're going to have to go out and compensate for that hole that you created. When he only has a year left on his contract, it really feels that this is going to play out, and this is probably, like you said, unless he has an all-pro season out of nowhere, a Pro Bowl season, he's probably down to his last season with the Steelers.
Exactly. And like I have no problem like if the Steelers would take Anthony Hill or Rodriguez in the second round. I've like fucked around with Mott getting them because I one of those two could probably even start over Peyton Wilson. Because if we get rid of Queen, you definitely have to take one of those guys. If you don't trade him, you don't have to take one of those guys. Yes, it would help us set us up for the future, which is a smart thing to do. But I don't want to create holes where we don't have them. That's why, Highsmith, I have no problem because we have someone who can come in and play right away. Whereas Queen, you definitely have to use draft capital for. Freiermuth, we were talking about earlier in the offseason. If you would move on from him, you definitely have to use draft capital on someone. You're just creating holes. I don't want to do that at this juncture. And I'm just, hopeful that the new scheme and some better play up front is going to allow Queen to do what he can do. If not, his contract's over and done with. You move on free and clear. You did your best.
Let's get about a couple more messages and let's do this. I'm going to go rare somber. Hopefully the new staff can keep these guys healthier. Also, Cody says, yeah, because the Raiders defense was so good last year. That's one of my big concerns. Is the the defensive coordinator. Like the thing is, you're hearing all these good things, and it's natural. Nobody's going to say we just got this defensive coordinator and he's terrible. His team finished last in the league. As a matter of fact, they're picking number 1 overall because the team just wasn't any good. People say, well, that's not the defense. Well, you know what? At the end of the day, the defense is half the game, and they came in. They were the 32nd best team in the league. So also more than I'm very, very interested in learning about, Mike, is the just the way that this is going to play out with this new coaching staff. We have no way of knowing. A lot of speculation, but that's about it.
And this, though, too, is the most talent that Graham has had to had to work with. He had some stints elsewhere where the defense performed better, but again, they didn't have a lot of talent. So hopefully, we're coming to a place where he has more talent than he's ever had to work with. The defenses will be a lot better. If not, then this guy's ran out of all the excuses that can be thrown for him.
And that's the best, obviously, best case scenario. Again, we don't know. The only thing that we do know is the Raiders were the worst team in the league, and this is where he's coming from. So again, hopefully you're right. Hopefully you're right, and we will have to wait and see. Let's go right here to Ty. Ty says this: facts, Mike. When Watt had that collapsed lung last season, we thought the season was doomed. And again, he was only at 7 sacks. So you're right. It takes a big toll on you when somebody with a big name goes down. Dude says they need to focus on strength training and conditioning. Absolutely. McCarthy's defense in Dallas. Hold on. McCarthy's defense in Dallas was trash, and they had pieces, is what Cody is saying, Mike.
But I don't think Graham was there in Dallas with McCarthy.
Okay. Let's just scoot up a little bit right here to Ty. Ty says they were top 15, Cody, with one big name. Graham knew what he was doing. Tortilla says this. Tortilla says Cody is getting excited. He needs a walk. You gotta take Cody out for a walk sometime. Let's go to Ty. Ty says McCarthy don't run the defense. You goofy. Graham will. McCarthy don't run the defense. You goofy. Graham will. Let's see. I say Bienvenido Jacob Rodriguez, our new replacement for Patrick Queen. That is Ronald Albright. Also, Tortilla says McCarthy Monday. McCarthy Monday. Scoot up. Let's go to right here. Cody says the Raiders defense was top 15 and they were the worst team in the league. That makes no sense. Just shows you how bad the offense was, I guess. Right? And they had players. I don't know. They're bad. Ty says this. Agree, Mike. He got talent now. Let's scoot right here. I have a little issue with my board. There it is. Steeler Freak John. John says this: I wasn't thrilled with the Mike McCarthy hire. That written. He is now the head coach. I won't assess him until after Rodgers is gone. Mike McCarthy will be handcuffed by Rodgers' ability, an uncanny ability to do what he wants. I agree. It's going to be very Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is going to be involved. Aaron Rodgers is certainly going to have say so. Even with Mike coming in being his first year guy. The fact that they're friends, the fact they work together, the fact they won a Super Bowl together. Aaron is going to have a lot to say, I do believe, in this offense if he does, in fact, come back this year, Mike.
And I don't have a problem with it. Like building your offense or tailoring your offense to the ability of your quarterback seems to be a smart thing to do. I'm not going to ask my quarterback to go out there and do something he cannot do. I think that would be bad business decision. I'd be like me hiring someone at work who I know can't do the job, but hey, you're here, and I'm going to make you do this job instead of like hiring someone who can do the job. Or if I go into a place and hey, these are the people you have, okay, I'm going to figure out how to get the best I can out of them. If my quarterback has limitations, okay, what can I do to mask those limitations, but also enhance their strengths? That's just what I would do. It seems logical to me. Hey, I can't do this. Okay, but what can you do? I can do this. All right, cool. We're going to build the offense on that strength, and we're going to limit your weaknesses.
Tommy String says, I agree with you. Mike Queen would play better with the new scheme coming in. Maybe as he was in Baltimore. He played better in Baltimore. And, a lot of things certainly have been underwhelming with our team. So maybe with the new change at the coaching staff, maybe that will be the difference. We will see. Ty says, offense. Cody RB says the Raiders had a better defensive rating than we did with 1/8 of the talent. Ty says this. Thanks for trying to explain to Cody. Thanks, RB, for trying to explain to Cody. Shaking my head is what Ty says. Also, Cody says everyone's sucking this Graham guy off like we know what we're getting. Dude says the Browns defense the Browns defense was really good. And the thing at the end of the day, that was a good defense.
Damn good defense.
They had definitely. I mean, you obviously with the Miles Carrot and a few of those younger guys on the defensive line they've been drafting the secondary. The Cleveland Browns' defense is legit at the end of the day. It really is. Um, I would have loved to have been able to maybe get their coordinator Mike on the defensive side of the ball, which didn't happen. But Cleveland's defense was say what you want about the Browns, but that defense was legit.
That defense was legit, and it's been legit for a long time. Their offensive line was legit for a long time too, but everything else around them sucked. And that's the Browns, man. Like they had building blocks in place, and they just can't get it done up there. It's another one of those organizations that will never get over the hump.
I agree.
Kind of like look at the Lions. They suck for a long time. They're good right now, but they can't get over the hump. And there's certain franchises that until I see it, never going to believe it.
Ty says this: how much money is A-Rod getting? You know what, Mike? I think we talked about this a little bit last week, and that's kind of another one of the big storylines of the weekend. This 30 million keeps popping up.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on A-Rod and his compensation?
He made 13 last year.
Yeah.
Let's say he's going to make 18 this year, maybe a little bit of a bump, a little $5 million bump. I don't think that's bad for him. That would put him really low on the list. It would still be under people like what Justin Fields, Malik Willis is making, because they're at 20 and 22 and a half. Baker Mayfield is on average the next one at 33 million. I don't think he's going to make that much money. So I'm looking between 18 million at tops for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I see it being somewhere between what is said and what he had last year. I just somewhere in the fair medium. It's not going to be anything crazy. It's not going to be $30 million. It's not going to be 12 million again either. So somewhere in between. I think 18 is safe, as you and Ty are saying. He's saying 18 to 22. I don't want to miss
that makes sense. 22 at max. That'd be fine.
Chaz is back, baby. Chaz is back, baby. Glad to see you on the terrible board. He says Johnny Football to the Steelers. Tater Tart is on the board. Let's go to Ty. Ty says Tater here, massage therapist, starting for y'all, and laughed my ass off. Let's go to Somber. I wouldn't give him a penny more than last year. Talking about Aaron Rodgers. Tortilla says someone told Batch 13 million and his old ass heard 30 million. That's yes, exactly. That's I think what it came down to last week when we were talking about it. Also, Mike RB says A-Rod is going to get 15 to 24. That's what I'd guess, somewhere right smack dab in the middle of what is being said and what is again what he made last year. Makes plenty of sense. Dude is saying $18 million with some incentives. Makes sense as well. Mike, let's step away from Aaron for a few. Let's stay on the offensive side of the ball for just a moment, because I want to give you the comparisons. You know how I like to do this, Mike. I gave you the comparisons of Kenny Gainwell and, of course, Rico Dowdle. I'm going to give you now, Mike, the comparisons between our two running backs this year. Of course, it's going to come down to Rico, and it's also going to have Jaylen Warren. Mike, let's talk about what they did last year. 2025 stats for the Steelers and for the Panthers. Like the rushing attempts for Dowdle last year, 236. Jaylen Warren, 211. So look at the hold on, let me continue.
Yeah.
Rushing yards for Dowdle last year, 1,076. Jaylen Warren, Mike, had 958. He had 958 yards last year. So again, I made that comparison when we talked about Gainwell. And I said, you know what? I don't know if Dowdle's going to get his numbers, because, when you put Kenneth Gainwell and you team him up in the backfield with Jaylen Warren, that's going to bring your numbers down by default. But look at the numbers that Warren was still able to put up at the end of the day with Gainwell by his side. 958 for Warren, of course. Dowdle, the 1076. Yards per carry, Mike. Yards per carry, very similar between these two running backs. 4.6 for Dowdle, 4.5 for Jaylen Warren last year, Mike. So another thing this is also telling me, this really works toward that becoming a more of a physical bully type team.
Yeah.
Because now, where Kenneth was more elusive and kind of, really seen his skills, Dowdle is being comparable to Jaylen Warren, who's a beast. He's a clubber, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this kind of falls into that. Also, Mike, we're looking at rushing touchdowns. Both of these gentlemen had 6 last year. Rico Dowdle and Jaylen Warren both had 6 rushing touchdowns. When it came to catching the ball, Mike, Dowdle had 39 catches. Jalen Warren had 40 catches on the season. That very comparable. When it comes to receiving yards, not much different. Jalen Warren actually has the edge in this with 330 receiving yards compared to Dowdle's 297. So just 35 yards difference on that. That's one play. It can be one play.
Yeah.
Receiving yards per catch, 8.3 for Jalen Warren, 7.6 for Dowdle, and receiving touchdowns, two for Jalen Warren, the incumbent, and then also like the new guy, one. He has one touchdown through the air last year. Dowdle for a total of 7 on the season. Jalen Warren having 8 touchdowns on the season. Mike, I think that we could possibly get what we got from Gainwell from Dowdle, plus a little bit more if he brings what he had in Carolina and is able to do what he does.
Yeah, and I have their career stats up here, putting them next to each other. It's all very similar until you get to like the receiving yards. Jalen Warren, he has about like a little over 500 yards more receiving in their combined career than Rico Dowdle. So I like this running back duo. I think it's going to be a very, very good duo. And I think like we've been talking about before, when Kenny G was in there last year, you kind of knew it was going to be, okay, this is going to be a pass play. Now, when you have both these guys in there, they're both good at running. Both they can catch out of the backfield. Obviously, Warren's a little bit better, but you don't know. You shouldn't keep the defenses on their toes more of like, is this going to be a dump off to the running back? Is this going to be an obvious pass play?
That's what I'm saying, Mike. With the way we're building this team, you're able to do different things now to where, like you said, until people pick up on how we run our offense, and then if we keep it fresh every week, they're going to say, okay, well, this is how they do it. But now we have to worry about a 325-pound tight end. There's so many things happening. There's so many moving pieces on this offense, Mike. That's why I hope the offensive line comes together, because with that offensive line being a solid group, you could then do that. Now we could focus on using Washington to his talents. You could focus on Dowdle and Warren, using these two players and mixing it up and keeping you off your toes, or keeping you on your toes. I'm sorry, and that's going to be just an extra level of this offense getting better. Mike, is not only being able to stop the talent that we have, but now having a little bit of a game plan, keeping people on their heels a little bit more. To where now, not only is this a possibility, now this is a possibility. Where before Gainwell, like you said, was a tail basically for the pass play on any given down. So I like the way that things are coming together with this team, Mike. Again, it's all going to come down to what this coaching staff could put together, and I'm super excited, Mike, as we are just 24 days away from the draft. That next step in this offseason, and it won't be long till the camps, Mike. The everything coming down the pike, and it's going to be exciting. Again, Rico Dowdle will be in the backfield with Jalen Warren, and if it's better than it was, Mike, with Kenneth Gainwell and Jalen Warren, we're gonna be smiling this fall.
Oh, I think so too. Even if it's like the same type of production from last year, I'll be happy. I thought they played well together, but these two right here, and man, I think it's going to be more physical running too. No disrespect to Kenny G, but he wasn't a physical guy. But what he did well out there. So that's why I think they might draft a running back that's kind of, I won't say similar to Kenny Gainwell, but a little more known for their speed than their power, as where Dowdle and Jalen are more known for not being afraid to lower the lumber. Just someone to complement them a little bit, a little change of pace, but to where you're not going to lose much physicality.
Let's get back on the board right here. Tyrone says Somber, he deserves a little more with that weak-ass wide receiver core last year he had. And that's true. The wide receiver core was pretty uncharacteristic, in my opinion, of an NFL offense. Somber says he's still not buying it, though. He says, nah. Somber says Rustin Fieldson went 10-7 with no wide receiver 2 in the same lines with less experience. Rodgers gets no excuse from me. He did nothing. But if Rustin Fieldson got their 10-7 with no wide receiver 2, give Aaron Rodgers the wide receiver 2, maybe a wide receiver 3, and a better offensive line. It's hard to say, but again, he's going to get more. I think, Mike, he's not going to get the same amount that he got last year. I think just being around another year, certainly Warren's giving him a little bit more money, but at the end of the day, I still think it's going to fall between somewhere in the middle. It's going to be higher than what it was, lower than the 30 that people were saying. Let's go right here to Ty. This dude Frank last night on this other channel said that Warren was a bust. Me, Somber, loyal, got on his ass. Good.
How can Warren be a bust when he was an undrafted rookie free agent?
I know.
Like anything that you do in the league after if you don't get drafted is more than anyone thought you would do. And for him to be a viable number 2 running back in the NFL, like he's doing better than a lot of first round draft picks have done in the NFL.
You're right. Yeah, absolutely.
Warren a bust. That just screams you do not know football.
Tater says that an Iranian drone can improve Heinz Field, but yet he asks.
It might improve the field. Actually, let's not lie.
But yet, you know what? Tater's such a tard though, because again, you know, when somebody says something about it, he's like, "Don't say anything political. Don't get political. Don't get political." Look who's being political. Ty says this true. I wouldn't mind like 15 to 18 range, but I see what you mean. Let's go to. Where'd it go? Right here. RB, each guy averaging almost 5 a tote. I'm all right with a ton of third and seconds. Third, absolutely. And certainly that's going to play to our advantage, I think, there as well. Let's go to Ty. Ryan, you think A-Rod gets over 30? Well, he got 24, having basically nothing last year. Listen, if things go good, and it's not a constant struggle, maybe. Because 24 touchdowns with one wide receiver, that would make sense. I guess I think 30 could be feasible. I think 30 is in the ballpark, Mike. If you got 27, if you could get the line to be, at least as good as it was last year, and I'm talking you're getting new players on the left sideline, so it's hard to tell what's going to be going on over there, and add more weapons, I think that he could get 6 more touchdowns throughout the season.
I think so.
It's not out of the question.
It's not out of the question, but 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 4 quarterbacks last year threw 30 touchdowns. So that's quite an ask, and Trevor Lawrence was right there at 29. But he can push 30. I think so. Yeah.
If things go well, again, I mean, things could fall apart, and again, we could fall because it is a new everything, and we obviously don't want that. We're trying to put the best case scenarios out there, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's out of the question. Again, 24 with what we had last year, adding and improving and putting people in positions again, like past couple seasons, not having that wide receiver too. I think that goes a long way. But at the end of the day, yes, Ty, I do think that there's a chance. Ty also says, I also heard earlier that we might get answer before draft. That's what the scoop is over this weekend. Ty, they are saying this. They're saying Skills expect Aaron Rodgers' decision before the draft. So we will see. Let's go right here to Jamal. Jamal says this, man, F.A. Rod, I'm sick of his shit, and he wants 30 million. No thanks. I mean, is it? I don't know if he wants 30 million. That's what I keep seeing, but I don't know if that's what he asked for. If he did, then we could have a problem. But until we know that for sure, I don't know that. But if he wants 30 million, Mike, that could be a bit of a problem. And I just don't feel that that's what Aaron's looking for.
Yeah, that's a bit much for what you're getting out of him.
But I don't disagree with you, Jamal. He is kind of getting on my nerves, and this is getting older. And I won't miss when this comes and goes, getting to that next step, Mike, along the way. But as of right now, it seems that he is our best option. But when it's all done, when the Aaron Rodgers era is behind us, I'll be fine with that. You're not going to hear me saying I miss Aaron Rodgers. No, you're not going to hear me saying that at all.
No, not at all. And he's a bridge quarterback. He's the best bridge quarterback we've had in franchise history. But, that's all he is. He's just a placeholder until we find someone.
Ty says that's all speculation, gang. Jamal says that's what of course, a lot of articles I've seen, but I don't know where they got it, Mike, but that 30 million has been ran with. I don't know where it originated from.
Yeah, me either. I haven't heard it from him. I haven't heard from any real source that's connected to Rodgers.
I don't know it to be. Yeah, I don't know where it came from, but I don't know it to be true either. So let's go to Ty. He says, yeah, me too, but he'll get a little bit more than last year. Somber says you both are saying Dwaddle. It's Dowdle.
I know. Dowdle. I like saying Dwaddle.
I usually say Dowdle, but I realized when I said Dwaddle this time, I think it's because Mike says it a lot.
I say it a lot too because there's a W in there. Or an O in there. Dwaddle. Dwaddle. Nope. Spell it.
Listen.
No. Here's
my thing with it. You don't say it too. You say it all the time. I just said it too.
I know. Reason I said it, if you have a letter in there, I'm going to pronounce that goddamn letter because that's how I have this thing against the English language.
Because you're in third grade, right?
It's terribly fucking. The rules make no sense. We
All
borrow from
right,
every
all
other
right.
language.
We
But
got,
you got to
we
pronounce
got,
it.
we got a little time. Let's. I'm like, we have still things we got to talk
It's my
about. football
soapbox,
related.
goddammit.
Your lack of education is not interesting to the public. I don't
As
think.
it should be.
Let's move on because there's a lot of things we still have to get into, Mike. Let's go to this right here. That's all speculation, is what Ty said right here. There's the Dowdle comment. Here we go. RB, keep an eye on a halfback from Clemson and Adam Randall, former top 15 wide receiver recruit turned halfback, 6'3", 230, 6'3", 230 halfback. Man, that's a big guy.
It's a monster.
John says the Steelers will try incentives for Rodgers. They will pay the amount that Rodgers. Yeah, that's going to be maybe the incentives is what's going to be the thing for him. So again, I just can't imagine, Mike, because nobody is. Again, tearing down the walls. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers are waiting to hear what Aaron Rodgers wants. It isn't like there's a whole lot of demand on the guy. I don't think he's going to be able to play that part. And you know what? It doesn't seem to me like he's going to come back and say, I want a shit ton of money after the season he had last year. I think it's going to be fair. I think he's going to get a fair amount. I think that we're not going to be upset. And hopefully he could come up and put at least 24 touchdowns up this year, Mike.
Yeah, and like whatever you sign him this year, it's not going to affect if you're able to extend anyone's contract. It's only going to be a 1-year deal. It's only going to affect this year's cap space. Maybe just some carryover cap to next year, but it's not going to preclude us from extending JPJ Herbig if he wants to stay in people like Mount Washington. So no, whatever we pay him is not going to affect the team at all.
Tortilla says this being named after a hot dog and talking shit is wild. Yes, it is. RB says
it took me a second.
RB says I'm blocked on 95% of Steeler channels from telling the people how retarded they keep up the good work, man. Because again, RB's top notch, baby. Glad to have him aboard. Let's go right here to Ty. He says, "Facts, Mike. His takes was too funny." Also, well, go ahead, Mike.
Oh no.
I wasn't sure what that was referring to. If you wanted to.
Yeah, neither could I. Maybe that one guy that we were clowning on.
From
that other channel.
Let's go to Tyrone. He says, I think so too with McCarthy, better than Smith. Dude says, I still think Rodgers and the management already. I do too. Ultimately, I do too. And again, this is good for the NFL. This is good for the Steelers. People are focusing on what the Steelers are doing on March 30th. You know what I mean? People are talking about Aaron Rodgers. So again, for the all year round business as it is the NFL, I certainly think it would be beneficial to keep this a secret, and probably is what they're up to some capacity. Let's go right here, Mike, to Ty. Ty says, see A-Rod waiting to see that wide receiver core and the left side of the offensive line. Can't fully blame him after last year, to be honest. That's a good point too, Ty.
Right. Yep. He has to, we want, we're sitting here thinking everything through the Steelers' eyes as fans and as people who would, as a front office point of view, like we want to know what he wants to do. But, the flip side to that coin is Aaron Rodgers got to do what's best for him.
Absolutely.
He's going to come into a team that has no offensive line and no weapons to him. Why would you want to come back?
Hey, you're right. You're right.
That's the whole thing we're kind of missing here.
Let's see right here where Somber, he says Dowdle. Also
Waddle. I'm gonna die on this hill.
Rico DeWalt, Tortilla. John is saying if they think more O linemen are needed, who am I to think differently? The O line must be locked down for a rookie. Let's go to Somber. Cowboys are unsure if franchise tagged wide receiver George Pickens will attend their offseason programs. If I was a betting man, I'd say he probably is not. The dude is a talent on the field, but Somber says good luck with that. Dallas also Lightning Rod. What's up, man? Puerto Rico Doodle. Puerto Rico Doodle. I like that. Also, Ty says laugh my ass off. GB probably pissed, to be honest. Absolutely. And he's always a problem. So, again, at the end of the day, it wouldn't surprise me. Pico de Waddle. I like that. Also, Tortillas saying, laugh my ass off. Okay, we did get that. A couple more things, Mike. This is where we are talking about this Patrick Graham a little bit, Mike. The hard hat lunch pail mentality of Sebastian Joseph Day says he's really excited by the plans that defensive coordinator Patrick Graham has for him. Mike, just a little bit of communication that the players and coaches have had. Everybody does seem optimistic, though,
Yeah.
with the new coaching staff coming in. Of course, Sebastian Joseph Day, one of the newcomers, number 69, as a matter of fact.
Nice.
Mike, very, very excited to get involved. He says he's excited by the plans that Patrick Graham has for him.
I'm excited to see these plans come into place too. I think we all are. Hopefully, it's something a lot better than what we've seen the past handful of years here.
Absolutely. And let's stay on the defensive side of the ball right here with Patrick Ramsey, Mike. We're going to talk about Ramsey. How do the Steelers use Ramsey this year?
Ooh, that's a good question. You can use him as, like a lot of people are saying, like the big nickel. You can play him at safety. You can play him at corner. He seems to be a guy that you can just scheme up spots and places for him. Let him do his thing. It's all gonna depend on, I think, early in the season, the availability of Deshaun Elliott. If Elliott's able to play safety, okay, then Ramsey's going to float around that defense. If he's not able to play safety, I think Ramsey starts as one of the safeties. Him and Jaquan Brisker will be your starting safeties. Then as Elliott comes back, you'll start to see Ramsey move around the formation. And I think that'll be the best for him. Just let him do whatever he needs to do on that defense. I want him around the ball as much as I can. I want him blitzing the quarterback. I want him coming down in to help stop the run. The dude's a physical presence back there. He's not your typical corner who's afraid to hit. He's not afraid to put lumber in on people. So I want him to have kind of like a freedom back there to roam around and do what needs to be done. And if Graham can dial up a scheme for him to where he can be a rover, let him be a rover.
And that's the thing. I love having him. Of course, you'd want him more in his prime. You think that how good he would be. But even right now, Mike, he's still such an asset to have. Yes, there was situations last year, where he couldn't keep up with Jamar Chase, and that ended up being a problem for that particular game. But at the end of the day, there are a handful of little things that he does bring to the table that you said, Mike. I mean, he's a corner that's not afraid to hit you. And again, it allows him to be a little bit even more effective at safety. Whatever you do, there's always something that Jalen Ramsey, I'm sorry, I think I called him Patrick earlier, Jalen Ramsey brings to the table. And I'm excited about that. Even as I said, Mike, after his prime, he still has things that guys that are on the team, in the league, aren't doing on a regular basis. He is doing those things. So I'm excited to see as well, Mike, so much stuff that we're going to learn. I can't express that enough because, again, it could be totally different from what we've seen last year, or it could be similar. We don't know. We're all waiting. We're all waiting for that, the preseason for sure, just to at least see our guys back out there with their uniforms on, getting back into football spirit. We have a long season of baseball to get through before that, Mike. But again, super just curious. You can't help but be curious to see, to want to know what these what things are going to be like with the new coaching system. And what people were asking for it. There it is. And let's hope it works out.
Yeah, hopefully it works out for the best, because this team has talent, a lot of talent, and hopefully this new coaching staff can maximize that talent. I just want to see Ramsey with it, couple of interceptions, some forced fumbles, and just to be just a pain in the ass to other teams.
Yeah,
the way he can be, because we saw it a handful of times last year when he would get all fired up. Chase spitting on him in the game overseas, getting into people's faces, getting the other teams' heads, getting them emotionally off balance. I love that kind of player when he's on my team, that pest, and he can back it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost equivalent, not equivalent, but the same idea. You remember back in the 90s when you had Dennis Rodman?
Yeah.
There's just a guy that could take your guys enough out of their game to be an effective player. And you know what? Jalen Ramsey has those skills, Mike. He can take you out of your game. He could do all those little things. Plus, he is a very good athletic, talented player. Past his prime, I think we could all agree, but that particular kind of player could go such a long way, as Dennis Rodman was only getting 2 points a game sometimes, a lot of rebounds, but it was the guy himself. He certainly brings a lot more to the table than those 2 points certainly signify. So again, very excited about Jalen Ramsey, very excited to see how they use him. Let's jump up on the board here, Mike, as we're kind of rounding third here. Somber says Cowboys are unsure. Okay, we did get that one. That is from Shefty, of course. That was from Somber giving us that information. Let's go. I do want to say welcome to Lightning Rod. As always, glad to see you on a terrible board. Ronald Albright says this, Mike, if Pittsburgh wants a third wide receiver, why not trade Roman Wilson and a fourth to the Chargers for Quentin Johnson? That way Roman can be with his old college coach, Harbaugh out there in LA, Mike.
Let's get a young receiver we can mold.
All right.
Yeah.
Dude says let him run free. Ty says I agree with Mike. Corey, what's up, man? Always great seeing you. No problem, brother. He says, damn, I'm late. LOL. I saw something about Rodgers getting closer to signing, but I don't know if I buy that. That is the scoop right now. Corey, of course, they are saying the Steelers are expecting Aaron Rodgers' decision before the draft. And as you see right to my right here, 24 days until the draft. So do what you want with that. That's what's being said. I do want to say welcome, Corey. Never a problem. Glad to see you on the terrible board. Hope you had a great weekend. Steeler Freak John says the stats I posted the other day show Rodgers can't perform against playoff Cali. And you know what? That's a very good point, John, and I don't disagree with you. Let me finish the rest of your comment. Weapons, O-line won't change his ability. You know what? It was like clockwork. You played a team that had a good defense last year. And, you know, yes, obviously Rodgers is a big part of it. He's your quarterback. But the whole team, like the whole offense, couldn't do anything against Houston with that D. They couldn't do anything in that first meeting against the Browns. They didn't score a touchdown. Against Cleveland, again, their defense is legit. The Green Bay game, we struggled against the defense. It was a little better in Green Bay. Every time we played a team like that did have a higher tier, probably a top third of the defenses in the league, the Steelers struggled. So is the improvements to this point, I'm sure, obviously they are improvements. You did, you got a running back, Mike, who maybe have a little bit of an edge over the last running back. You have a wide receiver too now, maybe with a little bit of work on the left-hand side of the line. Does this all contribute to helping being able to do something more against the defenses that we struggled against last year? Or are we still going to struggle with Houston if we face them, or which we do face them, with Cleveland when we play them? Has enough been done and is going to be done in the draft to get us over that hump, Mike, to be able to keep us in games? Because that's going to be a big difference in January. You're playing teams with the best defenses when you're playing in January. Can enough be done this offseason to get us over the hump to be able to stay in a game with a Houston instead of getting blown out like we did? Or just being able to fix those problems that we've had against teams that have top third defenses?
There's still work to be done on the line. You see, you still got to fix that left side of the line. You know, that's why you definitely have to draft a tackle somewhere in this draft to potentially move Fatano over there, and you've got to get a guard that can plug right into that left guard spot. Then potentially your line's fixed, and with that line plays well, it should be enough to slow down that front, because if you can control the line of scrimmage, what you're doing outside of that, Rodgers should be able to read those defenses and pick them apart. It's the pressure up front, and that's where we had the problem. Now, if your line holds up and you give your receivers time to make a play, cornerbacks and safeties can't cover those guys all day long.
Yeah.
So if you give your quarterback an extra half second to a second, he should be theoretically be able to pick them apart. So work still needs done on that O-line. Hoffman is not the answer. Dylan Cook, I don't think, is the answer. But you improve that line, it's going to make the team better. And then the scheme as well, on top of it, a new scheme, hopefully can make him better as well.
Lightning Rod says, did Aaron Rodgers take ayahuasca again? I'm sure. I'm sure. As Aaron's always up to something. Dude says Ramsey seeks out contact and wants to make them pay. Old school. All right. Also, let's go right here to John. John says, don't take the bait, Mike. Dude says Ramsey hitting the quarterback before going out of bounds. Let's go right here. Lightning Rod. If Aaron Rodgers is going to take ayahuasca, is Aaron Rodgers going to take ayahuasca with Mike McCarthy? That could be funny. I think
that pay to watch that.
I could get into that. Also, Steeler Freak says no other team wants Rodgers drama for what he offers. That's a very good point. We're in a unique situation. No two ways about it. We have been for quite some time, unfortunately. Corey says, before the tampering period, before free agency, and now before the draft, I bet his wife waited forever for that ring while he waited. He probably told this woman he was going to get married right around when he beat us in the Super Bowl, and he's just now getting around to it. By what Corey is saying. John is saying Rodgers didn't like Muth, Johnson, Wilson, or any other wide receivers. They had to go out and get retreads to approved to, though he controlled the O-line, the offensive last year, and will do it again this year. Tater Tart is saying Grandpa is still waiting on that call from the Cardinals. Somber, what was Rodgers' average release time last year? Like 2.3 to 2.8 seconds or something like that. If the line could give him at least one more second, we might be okay. If not, expect more of the same.
Well, Ronald, a new coaching staff is in place. I'd rather that new coaching staff, which has an offensive track record, mold those than an old coaching staff that had a defensive track record.
What did Ronald say?
He said, I would rather have young receiver who can mold. You mean like Roman and Pickens? How exactly did that molding work out? And I was addressing the fact, we have a entire new coaching staff here. They can mold them. That was the old coaching staff, and this is the new coaching staff.
I'm just trying to find out how the hell far you went back to get to that comment. My God. Let's continue to move forward here. Let's go to the biggest improvement for this is RB, and biggest improvement for the offense was losing Tomlin. Zero risk, zero reward scheme hurt more than talent. Neither were great, but Tomlin did them no favors, being uber conservative. I think there's certainly things that he could have done along the way. I don't know why the last 10 years of his career went the way they did. But again, that is a different story for another day. Corey says this at Tater. Well, it's a smart move. They're the type of team to pay a king's ransom for an aging quarterback, thinking he could bring a Super Bowl. I can't imagine that the Browns, they haven't figured out, Mike, this quarterback situation. Of course, we've lost Ben, and we're trying to figure it out. The Browns are still trying to recover from Bernie Kosar in the late 80s. So,
right?
Again, anybody that we listen to, I think that Tater Tard would know about quarterbacks and how to fix your quarterback situation because the Browns do it so well. Doesn't mean stop drafting wide receivers because a few didn't work out. Let's go right here. Must have missed a few here. Let's go. All right. Ronald says this. You said you would rather have a young quarterback in mold. You mean like Roman, Pickens? Oh, so you were moving. I think you were.
Okay. I thought you missed that one.
All right. So now we're getting this. Ronald said this. You said you would rather have a young wide receiver who they can mold. You mean like Roman and Pickens? How exactly did that molding work out for Pittsburgh? I think Mike did address that. Somber said, I remember when Ramsey sacked Gabriel and knocked the wind out of him last year. I mean, he was always up to something. Again, remember the play that ended the Jets game? Which shouldn't have came down to. It was 34-32 at the final count, and Ramsey made that tackle at the end of the game. Or he jarred the ball loose or something like that at the end of the game. Another instance, Mike, where he picked the ball up from a guy's hands that was laying on the sideline, ran it back for a touchdown. However, it got called back because the guy's foot was on the sideline. So there was he's always involved in something. And I like that about Ramsey. There's guys, Mike, that you might not see for 2 or 3 weeks due to production or, from them really going above and beyond. Ramsey's always involved in something. So I do like that, Mike. So it's a special talent that a lot of players don't have. I like that with him. And again, at his age, I'm happy because he's better than a lot of people are, Mike, that are in their prime, but just in different ways, more cerebral ways, I think. But he still has a good, good physically as well. But
oh yeah, and he was able to adjust, like, and the team was too. Once we saw like his limitations, they were able to get him into a spot where they minimized his limitations and maximized the strengths that he still had.
Absolutely. Let's go right here to John. John said, here we go. Rodgers averaged a time to throw of 2.61 seconds, with multiple reports identifying him as having one of the fastest, if not the fastest, releases among starting quarterbacks that year. Tortilla says, doesn't mean stop drafting wide receivers because a few didn't work out. Let's go right here to Corey. Corey says, at Donald, remember that Mike Tomlin's coaching tree couldn't really mold anyone? Somber said, that's what I thought. Steeler Freak John says, no weapons or O-line is changing that stat much. He's saying that's John. Somber says mid-twos. Sorry. Dude says this, the holding off of for his decision was the most drama he gave us. I expected a lot more. And at the end of the day, I did too. I expected there to be more Aaron Rodgers drama when it came down to it. The fact that it was as minimal as it was is kind of a surprise, and especially being a little bit older, Mike, you think that he might be getting a little bit more, be a pain in the ass, but you know what?
Yeah.
He was a moderate pain in the ass. I wasn't as annoyed by Aaron Rodgers as I thought I was going to be. As long as he throws touchdowns and keeps us in the 10-7 and gets us in the playoffs, the little things I could get by.
And they kept him off the McAfee show, so he didn't have any weird media engagements, and he was fine. He didn't do anything to embarrass himself or the organization.
Let's go to Tortilla. We missed on picks before, and we're going to miss on picks. Absolutely, that's just the nature of everything.
Yep, it's crapshoot.
Absolutely. Steelers freak John says this: Rodgers punished players by blowing them off if they made him mad. Players like Muth suffered. I believe Rodgers did more than some think. You're probably right. I'm sure there's ample stuff that we don't know, and you never know what it is. Ty says this: why we need Vega to protect him. I couldn't agree more. Christophus, what's up, man? Great seeing Christophus on a terrible board. I always love seeing Christophus. I do. You know what else I'm thinking, Mike? I haven't seen Aaron Jade.
No, we did not get the rocket ships.
My rocket ships. I don't know how I'm gonna go on. Let me get Christophus here. He says if we drafted Chris Bozzell or Denzel Boston, we will average 35 points per game. When they doubled Metcalf last year, no other wide receiver could get open. That's why Houston and Cleveland kicked our butts. Great to hear from you, Christophus. As always, my friend. Hope things are going well for you. Dude says this: a problem is the Steelers have been lacking the development of draft picks and providing the environment to succeed. And that's something, again, we're going to learn more about that. I mean, if that's the opinion of, and it could be fact, we're going to learn. We're going to see what this coaching staff does different and how they mold and form these rookies, and certainly be something that we'll all be paying attention to. Good observation, dude. Corey says this: I'm usually an asshole when it comes to drafting a lineman in the first round, but we clearly need it even after all the hype going into last season. I agree. I'm kind of on the lineman boat right now, too. I just know that you have to have solid interior line. You have to have solid lines, both sides of the ball. You do. That's how you're not going to be successful by not having solid lines.
Yeah, and that's where the games are won and lost, man, in the trenches.
I agree. Couldn't agree more. Steeler Freak John says DK dropped the pass and Rodgers blew him off for the rest of the game. The only wide receiver worth a shit gets put on the shit list by the drama queen and hurts the team. That is what I saw last year, and I don't think that's wrong either. A lot of good comments here late, as throughout the course of the show. Tyrone says, you know what? He says we can't jeopardize this. We can't not have a good week. So he says, here we go with the Rockets, Mike. I love it. I love it. There it is. Tyrone to save the day. The GOAT, no surprise there. Corey says two groups can guarantee 99% of the time that you can't pass up on it. In the first rounds are quarterbacks, O-linemen, cornerbacks. Everyone else can be found in later rounds. And John says the Steelers have trouble identifying and developing talent for over a decade. TJ and Muth are the only second contractors. That big problem is why they have been mid. Mike, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody about the website?
The Dum Yinzers.com. Check it out, everyone. Over there, we got all our social media links, and we got a lot of stuff hopping along for Easter. The Easter Bunny will be over there to let you know about the Mock Draft Mondays. RB's article up there about his top receivers in the draft. He also has some articles earlier talking about some under the radar type prospects. Check it out at the2dumyinzers.com.
Guys, it's time to get into the trivia question of the day. Mike's throwing up the website. Go check it out. www.the2dumyinzers.com. That's www.the2dumyinzers.com. Lots of good stuff over there. RB's work, Chop's work, Mike's work. It's looking good. Go check out the website at www.the2dumyinzers.com. All right, time to get into the question of the day, Mike. We're going to stay on the theme of the draft, of course, as the draft is only 24 days away from being right here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We're not going to change tune at all. We're going to stay with the theme. Mike, this is a draft question in regards to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So put on your thinking caps, everybody at home. Do the same. Let me grab Corey here real quick. He says, well, hold on, Cam, cry till I get paid. Hayward is on his 50th contract somehow. If you think, yeah, I know. If you think about it, like we said the other day, Mike, he said he was drafted in 2011.
Yeah.
I mean, we're pushing 2030 here in a couple of years. So,
Yeah.
point taken on that as well by Corey. Great message. Here we go, guys. Question of the day. And again, the idea, the theme is the draft. Here we go. Who was the Steelers' last top 10 draft pick? Who was the Steelers' last top 10 draft pick? Take a minute to think that over. We're live 5 days a week right here, Monday through Friday, 11:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. every day right here on the tube.
On the tube.
The question of the day, who was the Steelers' last top 10 draft pick? Think it over. Throw your guesses up on the board if you have them. If you think you know, throw it up. We'll see how we do, guys. Let me grab Ronald while we do give a few moments. Ronald Albright says the one wide receiver I want who really isn't a true wide receiver is that kid from Iowa, the returner Wetjen. I love him in the Berg. Tortilla says this. Mike, he says, hi, Smith got a second contract too. Everybody on the board is saying Devin Bush, Mike, as far as the last top 10 draft pick. Tortilla is saying Devin Bush. Ty is saying Devin Bush. Ronald Albright is saying Devin Bush. Corey is saying definitely Devin Bush. And before that, I think it was Ben. Mike, what is your thought process on the question of the day? Who was the Steelers' last top 10 draft pick?
We traded up for him. He was the consensus number 1 or 1A linebacker in the draft. Supposed to be the next Ryan Shazier, a can't miss prospect. Devin Bush.
Devin Bush, and that's your pick as well?
Yes.
And you had the full thought process figured out. Devin Bush was selected. Okay. That's all right. If anybody else has guesses, throw it up on the board. Guys, we were looking for, of course, who was the Steelers' last top 10 pick. Mike has a pretty good explanation. I don't know if I would go against what he's saying because it makes a lot of sense. Ty is saying Ben was number 11, which is true. Ben was number 11 in his respective draft. Guys, a lot of people so far is agreeing that Devin Bush is the answer, Mike, is who was the Steelers' last top 10 pick. Everyone is saying Devin Bush. Corey says now does a trade up. Yeah, you know what? It wasn't, but since you all started saying Bush, I'm going to roll with it, and then I'm going to give you the answer that just bear with me for a second. Yes, exactly. I didn't say it, so I'm not going to go that route. He says now does a trade up count, or are we talking about a top 10 dude or a record? Because that would make it Ben. Ben was actually 11.
Ooh.
But if
I have a guess.
If you have either one of the answers, it's going to be correct. Because Devin Bush is not wrong because of the trade up situation, but there is another answer, the natural top 10 pick. Hold on, wait.
I'm sorry. I'm like a little kid. I'm sorry.
Steel Loyal says I'm late. LL, you're good, brother. Always great seeing you as well. So you could have any one of these two answers. I'm going to give you Devin Bush if you did choose that. But let me ask the question again, Mike. Who was the Steelers' last top 10 pick? What is your guess beyond Devin Bush?
I'm going to go with Plexico Burress.
Plexico Burress, and what did he get picked at?
I think he was 9.
All right, close enough. But you were going to say Plexico Burress, Devin Bush, Mike. Either one of those answers, I'm going to lock you in, and you were locked in. Steel Loyal says that we didn't trade up. So, of course, Plexico Steel Loyals is saying. Ronald Albright says, please don't tell me it was Tim Worley. It's not Tim Worley, who's been on the show with us before. Was a great guest, as a matter of fact. Mr. Worley was a top 10 pick. However, there has been players more recent than him. Of course, he was 89, like 1989.
Yes, great guess.
I know,
on our show.
Corey, I know you're good. I was going to let it slide through, but you did bring it up, so I'm actually giving more opportunities. Steeler Freak says Bush was 10, and that is going to be correct. Corey says, sorry, I didn't mean to complicate it. No, you're good, because I was going to give you Bush, but my answer was, in fact, Plexico Burress, because it was not due to trading up. Plexico Burress was the last top 10 natural pick, as he was picked 8th overall in the 2000 draft, Mike. He was a top 10 pick, picked 8th overall. Plexico Burress, as Steel Loyal was saying and confirming. And yes, Devin Bush was by way of trade up, Mike, number 10 overall. So there you go. Either one of those answers were good. Everybody, Mike, everybody nailed it on the board today. Great job, guys.
Yeah.
Monday, great way to get this week started as we do head to the draft just 24 days away right here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Everybody's starting to feel it. They're getting excited, and rightfully so, Mike. This is the biggest sporting event inside the city limits of Pittsburgh ever by way of number for sure.
Oh yeah, it's the amount of people. Like I said, I was down in downtown Pittsburgh this weekend trying to figure out how we were going to place 700,000 people in here. Going to be packed in like sardines.
It's going to be something. It's definitely going to be something, but we're here for it, guys. A few things before we do get ready to wrap it up. I told Cody on Friday that we were going to do your counseling today. However, as Mondays usually they do get, a lot of things are going on. Beginning of the show, we're talking about all the different sports happening. So we do want to try to get off on that foot. But tomorrow, Mike, I do have it. I have everything in my paperwork here to get your counseling in tomorrow on the show. So be prepared for that, guys, and be expecting that. I'm going to be counseling Mike for his problems. I think that I'm going to be able to make some headway with doing that this week. Let me grab a couple more messages. Mike, Corey says, this a harder question is, when was the last time the Browns didn't have a top 10 pick? Ooh, that is a good.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. A few things before we do get ready to wrap it up for the day, Mike. I do want to say, what do I want to say? I want to say this. It was nice seeing PGH Steely over the weekend. Nice seeing him. And, of course, the Duquesne Pilsner, Mike, was flowing. If you are going to be getting ready to do some drinking, maybe watching your football, maybe even the Pirates already picking it up back where they left off, you may need to drink. You may not want to. Do stop by the Eagle and get yourself some Duquesne Pilsner, as it is now available in 6 and 12 packs at the Giant Eagle and also wherever cases are sold. The guys at Duquesne Pilsner are always doing good for us, Mike, and also heading into the draft, we have big plans for them as well. A lot of stuff coming down the pike with Duquesne Pilsner. As we do get closer to the draft, it's going to be a blast. Mike, always, we have it in the studio on tap.
Yes,
Duquesne Pilsner, delicious beer made right here in Pittsburgh, and it says on the can, grab a Duke.
Grab a Duke.
Also, did they with Baker? I guess they would. Yeah, with Baker Mayfield, Steel Loyal saying that. I mean, that makes sense because they did beat us in the playoffs. They did advance, and that was the 1 year in the last 40 years, I think, that the Browns finished above us in the playoffs. What else do we want to get into here? I do want to say this. Dude, go check out our social media. We are all over the internet, guys. You could check us out. If you want to keep up and follow what's going on with the Two Dum Yinzers on a day-to-day basis, you could follow us on Facebook, on X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and even TikTok. Swing by, just hit the follow button. Keep up with what's going on as we head into the draft season, Mike. Again, these are the last 2 days of March. It's unbelievable. March is going to be over on Wednesday, on Hump Day, and it's going to be April 1st. So no funny business, Mike, as April Fool's Day is on Wednesday. But the draft just around the corner. Also, if you had not had the chance or you haven't done it yet, do hit the like button down below. Hit the like, hit the sub, share, even a comment. It all helps in the algorithm, guys. We do appreciate all of it. Thank you. Let me grab a couple more messages, Mike, before we do start to wrap it up for the day. I'm going to go right here to Steel Loyal. Said the year they beat us in the play. That would be the only year, I think. That would be the only year. I don't know for sure. I think I don't know if Mike is looking it up or looking at other things. Tortilla says free vanilla. Don't drink that. Says this. He says Corey says that still they still had a top 10 pick from a pick swap they had from the preseason, I believe. They've never picked about 15 in the last 20 years, if I'm not mistaken. Ty says, take care, guys. You too, my friends. Tyrone, sorry, guys. Pirates going down to the Red Legs. You're going down. Ty. Buccos are in town today. Again, game 1 of that 3-game series starts today. That's going to go all the way through Wednesday. They'll have a day off Thursday and be at home for their home opener on Friday. Let's see what also Steel Loyal says. Yes, but the question was without trades. John says this: the Steeler freak Mike Rodgers knew going into the Pat McAfee show would be a no-go for the Steelers. I'm sure they mentioned that to him before signing. I couldn't agree more. Corey says that's still now now you're just making it complicated. No, it's all good, man. It's all good. Let's grab these last couple messages, guys. Ronald says, okay, trivia question. Who was the last Steeler first round pick who never played a single down for them? That is a great question because Mike, maybe you being more of the draft guy. What's your thoughts? Ronald says this. Who was the last Steeler first round pick who never played a single down?
Yeah. I was wasn't it who the hell did we pass Marino up for? Gabe Rivera?
I think he played. But that's
the only one I can think of.
That's a very good one. Anybody else has the answer or a guess to Ronald's question, do throw it up there before we go off the air. John says this: Mike looks worse than Woods' mugshot right now.
That's fucked up. I don't look that bad.
And you know what? Mike even had a whole night of sleep. Usually on those days that he has work overnight,
yeah.
he's like, oh, I'm so tired.
Monday's my well rested day.
This is the day he looks better than the rest.
This is the day though. You know, when I'm well rested, everyone wants to blow up my phone asking me questions. And like, what the hell?
Yeah, you just ignore them. Tell them you're busy. Are you bothering them while you're doing your show?
No.
Exactly. Corey says this. He says, at Steeler Freak, yeah, he be getting some sun or his blood pressure is leveling out from getting pissed off. And we will be getting into counseling him tomorrow. I don't think we can go another day.
Oh, I'll be drinking tomorrow on the show
without handling this situation. So expect that tomorrow. It's going to be
terrible.
A lot of fun as that is coming. Also, Mike, thoughts on today's show, man? Overall draft, Aaron Rodgers, a lot of the usual. It is, again, March 30th, the offseason. Thoughts on today's show?
Build the trenches, boys. Both sides of the line. Definitely with my boy Dante Corleone on today's thumbnail. Let's avoid Carson Beck at all costs. But no, in seriousness, like, keep addressing the offensive line and the defensive line. That's thank you, Tyrone. I'll get the Thunderbird, baby. Let's go. But no, just keep addressing the lines. And if Aaron comes, he comes. If he doesn't, he doesn't. The team's going to move on either way. And they're well aware of what's going on. And they don't seem to care. The Steelers are just doing their thing. So that means to tell me they don't care either way. If he comes back, cool. If not, okay, cool. We got plans.
And that's a good thing, I think.
Yeah, like they're not stressing about it.
Mike, you know what's funny? I'm finding on the board here. Everybody is on the same page now that they realize your anger, and this is why tomorrow is going to be so necessary.
I'm double fisting tomorrow.
Again, the counseling for Mike and his anger issues. We'll get into that tomorrow. I look forward to that. Tortilla says, I got seats in the splash zone for Vanilla Thunder's counseling.
I don't spill my drinks.
You just wait. It's going to be a blast tomorrow. Again, counseling of Mike and his anger issues. I can't wait. Again, I have all my notes ready. I was expecting to do it today, but the way Mondays go, again, usually are a little busier. So tomorrow we will get into that. Let's go. John right here. He says, Mike got Old English 800 in a bag under his desk. He's also saying Mad Dog 2020. A few things before we do get ready to roll, man. Mike, also Buccos tonight starting that series against the Reds in Cincinnati. The Reds 2-1 coming into the game. Buccos 1-2 after the opening weekend. Brandon Lowe goes deep 3 times, Mike, in 3 games for the Pirates. This is somebody that the Pirates brought in for his bat. He does hit 3 home runs in the opening weekend. They're off to play the Reds as Braxton Ashcraft takes the hill again today, or takes the hill for the first time today in that game against the Reds. Also, Mike, the Penguins back at it tonight as they travel to New York to take on the Islanders. That's a 7:00 game with just 9 games left in the schedule. 1 point behind the Islanders in the division, Mike, is the Penguins with their 36-21 and 16 record heading up to New York to play the Islanders today at 7:00. All the other sports, Mike, they are all done for the week. UFL Friday's coming back. They'll be back this weekend with the UFL football. The NCAA comes back Saturday for their Final Four. And again, Mike, the Hounds, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds game tomorrow back in the tournament. So the Buccos and the Penguins are the big tickets today in the Berg. We'll be back tomorrow to talk about all that stuff and much, much more. but I do want to say this first. I can't leave without saying thank you so much to everybody. We really thank you for coming and hanging out today with us and checking us out. We couldn't, we appreciate you more than you know. Believe me, we couldn't do this. We wouldn't do this without you. Thank you so much for your support. Also, I want to say thank you everybody on the board. You guys always keep things interesting on the terrible board, as always, guys. A true lifeblood of this show. And you know what, I say that all the time, but I mean it all the time, guys. You are the best, guys. You are the best. The terrible board rules, and everybody at home as well. If you're listening, watching on your phone, maybe you're at the gym, maybe you're in your car, maybe you're at work. We thank you to everybody. You guys are everything. The show does not go on without you. We appreciate every one of you. Thank you so much. What do we got, Mike? What do we got? 24 days till the NFL draft. I can't believe it. We'll be back tomorrow at our regular time to get into that and everything else. So much going on with sports, Mike. And we didn't even start our women's football yet. The Passion, they start next month. Still so much stuff coming. I love spring for that reason, Mike. So many different sports, so many different things. Yes, we want our Steelers. We want it now. But unfortunately, you can't always get that. You can't always get what you want, as the Rolling Stones once said, Mike. So everything going on right now, it's doing me good. I'm going to watch the Bucks play the Redlegs, as Tyrone is saying on the board today. Hopefully we get that win. We will see. Let me grab a couple more messages before we do roll. Let's go right here to where Ty says, I'll be bringing my notepad, Mike. So you better be ready. Tomorrow's the big day. And tomorrow Mike will be off of work after working through the night. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Ty says, go Redlegs. Of course, the Buccos and Reds. Sean says, ass crack got on the mound, warming it up. That's right. Preston Ass Crack is who you remember John was calling Braxton Ashcraft last year. Dirty Motor Oil. I do want to say welcome to the show, Dirty Motor Oil, on the terrible board. He says, in new light, Big Ben has some history he needs to answer for. As a Pittsburgh fan, I'm not a fan of Ben because of the you-know-what. Is anyone else with me? I tell you what, you come check in with us tomorrow. First thing, we'll get into Ben and a whole lot more. I promise you, I'll give you my full opinion on that. But we do thank you for the great question on the terrible board, Dirty Motor Oil. We're on our way out, actually, but catch us tomorrow. We'll get into that and so much more. Also, thank you for that. Tortilla, thank you so much as well for the super chat, Mike. $2 for a Hot Pocket by Tortilla. Pizza Pocket, as John is saying. Guys, again, we'll be back at our regular time tomorrow. Do it all over again. Mike, anything else before we do wrap it up for this Monday?
I'll see everyone tomorrow.
All right, fantastic. The grapes, Dirty Oil. We hope to see you tomorrow, Dirty Motor Oil on the terrible board. So again, we'll be back tomorrow at our regular time. We hope everybody has a great Monday. All kind of things, Mike. You got baseball, you got hockey, you got wrestling tonight, all kind of things like that to get us by as we all just sit by patiently and wait for this draft in just 24 days in this NFL season to get here. We certainly are. Mike, one last time, I'm going to swing around to you. Speak now, forever hold your peace. All right, coming back, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you so much for being here. We can't wait to see everybody. Can't wait to see everybody tomorrow. A lot of stuff to get into, and Mike will be counseled tomorrow. I can't wait. That's my favorite part. What I'm waiting for the most. But guys, I want to say for Finch, for Derpy, for RB, for Chop, for Mike, myself, have a great Monday. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.